INBOX to 57500. That's INBOX to 57500.
8:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. And back to you, Cam.
Well, delays are picking up now just in Sandy. It looks like about 90th South. Not seeing any, well, there might be an accident about 80th South that's causing some of these delays. But it is the South interchange that you're coming up on, so nothing unexpected in terms of heavier delays. Now, if you're heading north from there, you're obviously going to run into it a little bit ahead of the I-80 intersection, but past that, you're going to be smooth sailing into the city. Headed eastbound on the 201, you're going to run into a little trouble through Magna at 7200 West, and then further east from there on northbound I-215, that looks like it also might be due to an accident that is being worked on cleaning up. Mountain View Corridor a little further south in West Jordan, that's going to be a little slow at 7800 South. And if you are coming through Daybreak over around at the intersection of 102nd South. Andy?
South 15 got a little bit of slowing in Bountiful, and then as you pass a crash blocking the right lane just before the Center Street turnoff in North Salt Lake prior to the 215 split. But be ready for that slowdown. And then I-80's clear from Salt Lake over to Park City.
Let's get a look at this weather forecast today. We've got another chance of storms. That chance of rain continues into tomorrow. Today's high up near 100 at 99. A little cooler tomorrow, 92 for a high. Right now it's cloudy and 84 degrees downtown. Inside Sources coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Southwest, South Central, and Central Utah are all on flood watch today. That includes Beaver County. Thunderstorms are dumping water on the Cottonwood Fire burn scar, potentially leading to more deadly flooding. Over the weekend, over 200 homes were affected by floodwaters, and a portion of the drinking water system was washed out. We'll continue to keep an eye on it and provide updates as we get them. Fire crews are still hard at work across the state. They've made some great progress on the Buck Basin fire. That's 96% contained after burning about 145 acres. The Stookie fire is now 40% contained after reaching 10,000 acres. Some good news, the Pony Express, Sharp, and Hatch Ranch roads in the area are back open. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Forecasters are keeping an eye on Tropical Storm Bertha, which is churning in the Gulf. More from ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee.
It has formed. Max sustained winds 50 miles per hour should hug the coast. It's moving really slowly, so we may see more like a Thursday morning landfall. But either way, the impacts are what you need to know about. Tropical storm warnings from Mobile through coastal Mississippi into southeastern Louisiana. 2 to 4 feet of storm surge is the top end.
The storm is expected to make landfall as early as tomorrow. Your money at this moment. Let's see what's going on with the markets. The Dow is up 257 points. That's 0.5%. We're at 52,093. Oil this morning up another $1.80. We're at $85.03 a barrel. Coming up, watching out for rain today and tomorrow. More on the KSL weather next. KSL News Time 9:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
This is Colin Curie from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Breaking news on KSL. They have declared a local emergency in Beaver County. There is a meeting taking place there right now. Let's listen in.
Have any questions about the resolution? No, and these funds are important to get that coming. Ginger, as far as I know, we have not received one check yet. We are running off county dollars, and we're just running off what we can do for right now. But to help with that going forward, we need these funds to go forward, and this resolution is necessary to make sure we can get all the assistance we can out of both the state and federal agencies.
Wes, you want to offer anything real quick?
Just echo what Commissioner Yardley said. It is key that we get this done in a timely manner so that we can start taking advantage of that resources and the financial aid that we can get from the state and federal government.
I know most of you are aware that Beaver City declared this as well last night, and we've been in great partnership with the city, working hand in hand with the situation. So, Resolution 2026-12 is a declaration of local emergency. A disaster has occurred within Beaver County, making immediate emergency relief necessary for the effects of flooding. In addition, a local emergency also exists due to the continuous efforts of major flooding, flash flooding, debris flow, and associated hazards. Assistance is requested from the state of Utah, the federal government, to provide all necessary resources to address the impacts of the flooding, protect life and property, and support recovery efforts for affected residents. If there's no other concerns or questions with this resolution, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the resolution as stated.
Commissioner Pearson, are you able to vote?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Commissioner Yardley, aye.
Commissioner Pearson, aye.
Commissioner Holling said aye. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Commissioner Pearson. That's the declaration. There is an opportunity to ask some questions now. If there's any questions, if you have or a comment you want to make, you can come to the podium, state your name. Please be brief in your statement or your question. We want to not take a lot of time here because we've got to get back to doing what we need to do to continue to support our
We're listening to the
county
Beaver County
workers,
Commission, which has just declared a
work
state of emergency based on the flooding there. We'll go back to that action now.
If there's any public comment, I'll open that up to a comment or a question. Please make it brief if you have a comment or question.
Question I have is, we're aware that there's a lot of work going on in Northbrook as well. My question is, do you have plans to mitigate that risk of flooding all the way down the Northbrook? What are your plans? I know, I realize you really can't go deeper or wide, or at least where it passes behind my house, but I'm not an engineer, so if you have any plans to at least look at the rest of the.
Great question. Will you just state your name for the record, just real quick?
Paul Cleon.
Thank you. I'll let Commissioner Yardley speak in 1 second, but we do have a plan. I can have Jones and DeMille address that real quick. There are the engineers that we've asked to address that for us. They are here. If either one of them want to talk to that real quick, they can. If you want to come to the mic, that would be great. That's you, I guess. You got Jones DeMille on your shirt. Don't look around, buddy.
Yes, we've done some post-wildfire
Hey,
flood modeling.
will you state your name? Sorry. Thank you.
And we provided some rough cross-sectional areas that are required to pass that flood. I will say that the event that happened down Beaver River was larger than what we modeled. That was quite the event. So we're working on coming up with some different scenarios. And in general, I would just say anything we can do to keep the floodplain wide, to not constrict it to the main channel. I was just out there this morning. There are a lot of old historic channels.
We were just listening to a commission meeting down in Beaver County where they just declared a state of emergency. Beaver City did that last night. And this is Inside Sources. I'm Holly Richardson.
And I'm Greg Skordas. And right now, the Beaver County Commissioners are discussing the flooding that's already happened and how to prepare for additional flooding over the next several days, declaring a state of emergency. Apparently, the city of Beaver has done the same thing. And of course, this flooding was impacted in large part by the fires that they had recently and the fact that there's just not enough there to withstand the water that's been going, and it's been quite an ordeal.
So we talked a little bit briefly yesterday, too, about the just incredible amount of rain that they had over the weekend. They had an inch and a half, more than an inch and a half, within 45 minutes, if you can believe that. It hit the Cottonwood Fire burn scar, and about 200 homes in Beaver were impacted by that flooding that happened after that.
Yeah, and just listening to the county commissioner, and this makes perfect sense, obviously, but by declaring a state of emergency, they are able to access what he described as state and federal funding to help them with some of that mitigation that's going to be required. And certainly there's a lot of damage that was done. There was even a time, Holly, when I-15 was closed.
Yeah, that's right.
Part during that era. I mean, that's pretty major part of the travel through the state, and they had to get that cleared up before they could get traffic through there. Some of the back roads are still very much in jeopardy, and some homes are evacuated as well. But this flooding has been a real problem there, and it's probably going to continue. At least it's continuing today. It seems like there's still some precipitation down there.
Well, I know certainly that there is precipitation in the forecast. There was a flood watch warning until 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah. So we're talking about Beaver County, which we often don't really talk about. But we had the fire there. Was it the Cottonwood Fire?
Yeah.
That they had down there, and it got big, and it really was taking a huge part of the mountains there to the east of Beaver. And one of the commissioners or someone we talked to said, "Look, this is going to be a huge problem. When the rains come, we're going to have a big problem."
Yeah, they were saying it is not an if, it's a when. And I remember that they were saying before the fire was even contained, they were starting to say, we need to get prepared for flooding. They were doing sandbagging. They were doing, what they needed to do. And I think residents there knew that they needed to be prepared to evacuate. There was a story that I saw, this is on KSL.com by our friend Daniel Woodruff, who talked about a llama ranch. And I was like, so it's a ranch that's been there since 1982. And the owner was like, it's just a huge muddy mess. There's tree limbs, there's debris, fences are destroyed, part of a barn was collapsed. Another building was knocked right off its foundation. So the property was located near the Beaver River, and it just got overwhelmed.
There are obviously things that go into consideration when there's flooding after a fire, one of which I didn't know about. Of course, one you do know about, and that is that with the lack of vegetation and things that you normally with hold the soil together and keep things from moving when the water comes. But also the soil chemistry changes. It becomes more of like a slick surface.
Yeah, and that's something that we learned with these fires, right? It's almost like a level of concrete or something. It just slides right off.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, that's so interesting. It's just something that happens to the soil. I don't know what the phenomena is there, but it becomes almost like a sheet of ice, and the water does not. You'd think the soil would be looking forward to getting as much water as possible because it's been so dry, but it just slides off. And then these some more narrow slot canyons and just even canyons themselves become just a way for almost like a faucet. You're going through your rain gutters on your house. It gets more and more and more. It's finally gets to the point where it's just coming quickly.
I did want to tell you about the llamas. They're all okay. They're all okay, but the property it's really had a lot of damage. And the same story on KSL.com. They talked with a resident out there who's been there for 25 years. She was able to sandbag around her home, so that kept the water and the mud from getting inside the home. But she said this is the worst she's ever seen. Outside is really, really bad. And if you've seen any of the pictures, you can look at drone footage. You can look at any of the pictures surveying the damage, and it's just like, oh my gosh, those are pictures you see that happen in other places, right? But here it's right in our own state, and it's just really devastating.
Well, I assume that the federal and state agencies involved, once an emergency is declared, will get down there quickly, and they're probably already in process anyway. But that poor county, the finances and whatever would be so devastating to some small county like that it's good you have these resources available through FEMA and other things. Yeah,
yes, and it takes a little while, right? But I think they're correct that they're going to need the additional help. So when we think about fires and flooding, I mean, I guess sometimes we don't really think that they go together, but often they do. And that's what we have found out this season. So coming up on Inside Sources, we're going to hear from one of the Beaver County commissioners about ways they're working to support those in their community right now, including getting down in the muck to help with cleanup and preparations for even more flooding. That's coming up right after the break.
Summer's not over, and 4 weeks from now, you'll still be in summer. And what if I told you that 4 weeks from now, everything could feel different in your life? That is your energy, your weight, even the way your clothes fit. That's what the Soda Dynamic Diet is built to do. Right now, listeners of this show can get 4 free weeks when they call 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A, and mention KSL News Radio. One of the reasons I went with Soda is this. They believe weight loss should be temporary. Results should not be. So instead of putting you on shots and pills and medications that become an ongoing commitment, Soda teaches you how to eat for your body and keep the weight off for good. Weight loss medications can cost a lot, and for many people, it doesn't end. Soda's different. A degreed nutritionist hooked me up and got to the root cause of my challenges, guided me one-on-one, taught me lifelong habits that I could use to lose weight without signing up for a lifelong bill. Remember, you can get 4 weeks free when you call 866-800-SODA and mention KSL News Radio. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to cars4kids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids, K-A-R-S, Cars for Kids, 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad, and I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
A place where survival,
it's dark now, I have nothing,
is never certain. In 2011, an Australian hiker vanished.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
The mountains have decided to keep him.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So we're continuing our coverage this morning of the devastating floods down in Beaver County. Heavy rain forcing floodwaters and mud down the mountains into the communities in and around the town of Beaver.
There was just water coming from all different angles, lots of areas. There was water where there should not have been water. And at that point, you just go into kind of panic mode. You try to get dozer lines somewhere to save as many houses as we can and just channel that water where it's going to do the least amount of destruction.
That was Beaver County Commissioner Brandon Yardley speaking to the KSL News Daily podcast about his experience over the weekend. And as we talked about earlier, officials in Beaver County have declared a state of emergency. The city and the county did due to the damage caused by the recent floods and mud flows.
So if you remember the Cottonwood fire, it was discovered almost a month ago. It'll be a month ago tomorrow. It ended up burning, what did I tell you,
97,400 acres.
Yeah. A lot of acreage, right? And then when the rains came, they just dumped so much water in such a short period of time. We've already talked about it couldn't absorb into the soil. But there's still rain in the forecast today. There's rain in the forecast for tomorrow. And so we know that the people in Beaver are being prepared. But, one of the things that stands out to me is just how willing most people are to just jump in and do, and that includes Commissioner Yardley. So when he spoke with Maria Chaleos, he was actually in the middle of the Beaver River trying to prepare for additional flooding.
So I'm in a dozer right now, just pushing banks out, trying to triple the size of the river, just so it'll hold that water in there a little better. We did a lot of preparation before the rainstorm, but there wasn't any amount of preparation that could have prepared us for what we saw. We tried to prepare as much as we could, but we weren't prepared for the amount of water that we saw.
And what they saw, Holly, was 1.59 inches of rain in 45 minutes, and that was just one storm.
That was just one.
That was
one. That wasn't the only.
I can't even. What would that have been like to even just be outside standing around,
just dumping buckets?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's water's got to go somewhere. I mean, it's really bad. It's just sad. He also told Maria Chaleos that they're expecting more flooding and damage to come.
Yeah, that's right.
So our big thing now is to tell people, pay attention. When the sheriff says it's time to get out, we got to get out again. Unfortunately, this flooding is not going to be a one-time event. It's going to happen numerous times. So our focus is to get prepared for the next wave that's going to come and make sure we've got a little more preparation. We know where the water goes now. We've got to do better at keeping it in the river and just make sure we can stop the devastation from the next one.
So yesterday, we remember there was the cattle drive down State Street in Salt Lake City.
For the Days of 47.
For the Days of 47. And so the governor was part of that. And he was talking yesterday about help for Beaver County. So this morning, the county commission declared a state of emergency officially. The governor hasn't done that yet, although I suspect that that's coming. But what he did say, he said that the state is prepared to help. He knows that there's infrastructure loss. Of course, we know that water systems were compromised, and they're going to get repaired quickly. He said it's an all hands on deck kind of thing, but we're going to do as much as we can as the state to help. So he also said it's fortunate that nobody has been killed. And you're going to have a couple of weeks of heck with the fire, and then you're going to have 5 to 6 years of heck with everything that comes after it. So it's not like, oh, well, we got some rains, and so vegetation will magically be back by next season. It's not that fast. It takes a while.
It can take a while to get things back. Maybe, like you say, years. While they've been waiting for the state funding to come through in the state of emergency, a lot of the neighboring counties have actually stepped up and helped. Commissioner Yardley did talk about that and actually had to hold back tears while he was doing so.
I do want to say thank you to all the surrounding counties. They've been incredible. They've been great to send guys, equipment, trucks, whatever we need. They've been very helpful.
That kind of gives me chills. Again, one of the things we do really well in Utah is help each other out.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that people have been like that. I mean, he's doing an interview with Maria while he's driving a bulldozer and trying to establish the banks of the river so that the water will have some place to go. And then he said, look, now we know where this water is going to go. Now we know where it's going to run. Now we just need to set up the network so that the water can have a place to go.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the things where you can anticipate that it's going to rain and that you're going to have flooding, but not this amount, right? And I think they did everything that they could. The governor mentioned the same thing. Look, we were prepared and preparing, but this was a lot more water than we anticipated.
We came out of the weekend with just so much going on with the weather, and our meteorologist Matt Johnson was talking to us just not long ago about this monsoonal moisture coming through, and said, "Be prepared because it can hit big, and it can just hit a localized area. I mean, Beaver gets an inch and a half, and where you live in Utah County gets next to nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's just a happenstance. But then, it couldn't be worse for Beaver because they just came off of that fire. The Cottonwood fire started in June 22nd.
Yep.
So it hasn't even been gone that long. I mean, the good news is you get water, make sure everything's out, and the soil's getting, replenished. But you get too much water, and the soil can't take it anyway, and it just becomes like it's a flood. It's
and
just
even
awful.
if the soil could take it, that's just so much water, right, in a short period of time. Look, we mentioned water safety. They're still under a boil order because that flood water did get into the city water supply, so they're working on that. Beaver City Mayor Matt Robinson told people on Monday morning that the best case is that they would have safe water within 48 hours. So sometime tomorrow, they're hoping for water down there. And yesterday they did allow people to go back to their houses, which is how people know that they didn't get mud inside the house, but the outside is destroyed. So it's, again, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in that community for a long time to come.
I do think that based on what we are learning about the weather, that it's not going to get worse. I mean, that we're maybe over the worst of it, at least for that part of the state, and we shouldn't expect too much more. But our meteorologist did tell us, was it yesterday, that there was more coming today, but then he thought Wednesday and Thursday could be a little bit better for that part of the state.
Yeah, that's right. And there may be more storms after that, but today and tomorrow there's rain in the forecast. Then it kind of dissipates for at least a little while. But I've never had my home flooded, but I did have it burn, and the recovery it goes on so much longer than you think it might.
Yeah, I mean, we suffered some great rains once, and it came in through our window wells. It was just okay, here we go. There's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah,
we took care of it. We didn't even have to call services in, but it was. I just remember watching that, going, well, we got a mess ahead of us for the next couple of weeks. You couldn't stop it while it was coming in.
I haven't heard an update today on the fire. It was 90% contained. I wonder.
Cottonwood?
Yeah. The Cottonwood fire. You would think that the rains really helped with that.
Yeah, if there was any fire in the path of the rains, you'd expect that to be done. I haven't heard either, but you'd expect probably it's all contained.
Well, just as of this morning on Utah Fire Info, it still had it at 90%. That's what I'm saying. I haven't seen an update yet today. So, when we talk about this, we know that in this area there were no lives lost, but we do know that down in Wayne County there were 5 lives lost. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in our show, but it's really important to take it seriously, I think, weather and even lightning, because we know we had a hiker this weekend lose his life to a lightning strike.
Right. And you can hear much more of Commissioner Yardley's conversation with Maria Shilaos on the flooding by checking out KSL News Daily podcast. And we'll continue tracking additional flooding in the area with updates on air and online at KSL News Radio. But when we come back, small brush fires along the train tracks in Roy have resulted in several homes catching fires. Officials now believe the train broke through off sparks, causing a series of fires along a 1.5 mile stretch. We'll talk about that when we come back.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, hundreds of people gathered in 5 Utah cities to protest the recent 90% reduction of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante national monuments. Demonstrators lined the street outside of the governor's mansion, holding signs reading, "Protect Wild Utah," "Utah lands not for sale," "Protect our public lands," and others. The protest was organized by the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance, who says the reduction threatens native lands, while proponents say this corrects federal overreach. The man launched into the air by a bison in Yellowstone is speaking about his experience. Bozeman Health shared the video with CBS.
We saw the bison, and he was down. He wasn't showing aggression or anything like that until it picked a target. That target happened to be me. At the time, I had my grandson with me. It was like, you need to get up to the amphitheater. I will deal with this down here. They move faster than you could ever imagine. He just kept coming, and he was more aggressive. And as soon as he got off that tree, he launched me in the air.
65-year-old Carl McDaniel broke his femur and fractured his hip, but his surgeries were successful. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the escalation in the Middle East is causing oil and gas prices to rise again. ABC News Chief Business and Economics Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis.
While we're seeing prices rise across the country, certain states are feeling it the hardest. Utah, Colorado, Missouri, parts of Texas, they are seeing the biggest jumps today. And it all comes back to the price of oil, which is $83 a barrel and rising, with that major oil artery, the Strait of Hormuz, effectively closed off.
AAA lists the average price of gas in Utah now as $4.14. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 360 points. We're at 52,200. Coming up, we'll check that rain in the forecast. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say?
The problem is,
don't look at a gift horse, cause you can't make them drink.
He gets a lot on the mixed up.
People who live in glass houses,
here it comes,
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth 2 in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. It does, you know.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
Well, we had a crash on southbound I-15 just before Bangerter Highway. That's cleared off the road, and we're seeing the last stages of cleanup on this crash for southbound I-15 just before the north interchange coming in from Davis County. Just about gone as well. The only slow spot we have on I-15 is northbound right at the south interchange, and those are quickly dying out from the morning drive. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at the weather forecast. We have a 40% chance of some more thunderstorms today. We'll get up to 99 degrees. A better chance of rain tomorrow, 60% chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, but we'll only reach 92. Most of those storms clear out by Thursday. Right now, it's mostly cloudy and 84 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, several Weber County families are out of their homes this morning after a series of small brush fires spread in the neighborhoods near some tracks in Roy. We broke the news yesterday here on KSL News Radio as crews battled the flames over Holly. It was a 1.5 mile stretch near the tracks where these train was going down, causing these fires.
It's a little bit crazy, right? But fire officials are saying that a passing train, actually they think it's 2 different ones, threw off sparks from their brakes, causing small fires along, as you said, 1.5 miles. It spread through the dry grass and brush really quickly.
In total, apparently, 3 homes were thought to have been destroyed and several others damaged. I mean, that's pretty significant. You would think 2 things. One, in this day and age, they should have something that can mitigate the sparks that come off of train brakes. Like, you can't do everything, and that's probably to be expected. But more importantly, I don't know why local or maybe the train personnel don't come along and cut the grass along the tracks. I mean, just
short.
Bring their DR trimmer through there and just come out and make a break, a fire break, because those sparks coming off of the brakes are not flying 50, 60 feet. They're probably flying 6 or 8 feet, just enough to get something sparked,
you would think,
and then it goes. You'd think you could get something. You could get that. I mean, I'm not second guessing. Whatever I trust the authorities that they know what they're doing. But in this day and age, when we're looking for anything that could possibly cause a fire, that seems like one of the things.
Well, there's 200 people who had to be evacuated and 3 homes destroyed. I mean, and it happened really quickly. If you were listening in yesterday on KSL like I was, it's like, holy cow. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, okay, you got to get out. You got to get out now. Our own KSL reporter, KSL's Andrew Adams, he was right there on the scene as the fire was spreading.
It was just kind of shocking.
If it was just one fire, leaving behind a single blackened backyard,
I just couldn't comprehend what had happened.
it would have been confounding enough.
And then I started walking down and seeing other people's stuff, and it was gone. It was just crazy to see.
April Peterson's disbelief only grew when she and other neighbors
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
saw what happened up the street.
At first, I was really freaked out. I was scared. I was terrified because I really thought maybe like more houses are going to be affected by the fire.
Firefighters say multiple fires damaged numerous properties and destroyed 3 homes next to this rail line in Roy.
We call it a hot train. If one of their brakes get hot, it can throw off sparks.
Crews preliminarily believe a train sparked for up to 1.5 miles.
Went through and started random fires all along the bottom of the railroad tracks.
And there's a bunch of dry grass by those tracks back there.
Though fire teams arrived within minutes, much of the damage was done.
We had water, we had everything, but it just unfortunate it was moving that fast.
Neighbors say they never predicted a fire starting this way
We had more fear of fireworks than we did a train.
and ending with such devastation.
I just lost a fence. They lost a house. They lost something. And it was just hard. It was hard.
Yeah, and 3 homes were, it sounds like, completely destroyed. A lot of homes were damaged along the way.
fast.
Even that woman lost her fence, I mean, which is significant. But, man, imagine your whole house going up in flames. You're just sitting there. And really, you got through the 4th of July. The 24th is a week away. Fireworks are not a problem. You're in an area, you're not up in the hills where there's a lot of brush. And a train comes by, of all things that you've probably seen 1,000 times if you've been there very long.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing like this has happened. But one of the people that Andrew interviewed talked about a hot train or something where the brakes just get so hot.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't one of the people who lived there. It actually was the North Davis Fire District Chief, Mark Beecroft, and he just said it's the hot train. One of their brakes gets hot. It throws off sparks. And I don't know, because I don't know anything about how this all works together, but the weather yesterday was already hot. I don't know if that has a factor in creating these hot trains where the brakes are even hotter, but I can imagine that they can throw off sparks. But here you go, man.
I'm trying to think, because I take the front runner line periodically, and it goes through Roy, and so I think I know where the train tracks are. I think it's west of the of I-15, but still, you don't think of it as being a real brushy, grassy area, but it doesn't take much. I mean, you just got a little bit, and whatever it is. One of the women that they talked to said it's just, there's some dry grass along the train tracks there, and that's going to light up.
They said it was the area of about 4,300 south and about 2,700 west in Roy, so pretty far west.
Yeah,
but. Also, this is what our own KSL.com story is saying, is that it was 2 different trains, a commercial train traffic and a front runner train. So that there were 2 that went through there, and they have the front runner train had to stop at the Clearfield station and. Right. I mean, they obviously can't keep going.
So they're hitting their brakes coming in.
The UTA spokesman said the investigation is still ongoing, but. And then you had to have a cooling center opened at a nearby church because it was so hot, right? You can't just stand out in the yard, especially if you lost your home.
You think about the amount of heat that goes into your, stopping your car and what it must take to stop a train. You know what I mean? I've had my bicycle brakes, melt.
Yeah.
And that's nothing.
Yeah.
But a train, you just think of all that weight and whatever it takes to stop it. Those brakes are going to get hot, really, really hot. And
Yeah.
it's not surprising that with grease and other things, they might spark a fire.
That neighbor that Andrew Adams talked to, Jenny Mora, she lives close by, and she didn't end up losing her house. She had lost part of her fence, as she said, but she said she heard it sounded like a home collapsing. She said the firefighters wouldn't let people see, but she said she was pretty sure she could hear it cracking and collapsing, which is, look, it's terrifying enough to have it be through fire, but it's such a loss, too, to have basically your whole life go up in smoke, right?
I wonder if they stopped the train eventually. I mean, it went 1.5 miles, and I don't know, you don't necessarily know the answer to this, but I mean, 1.5 miles section where it was really hot and it was just sparking these fires along the way. That's a long ways. And did the train finally know it, or did it just move into an area where it wasn't?
I don't
that
have
much
the
brush?
answer for you.
Obviously, we don't know that. I was just curious more than anything else. And the front runners probably coming the other direction, but it's just. I don't know. I guess it's to be expected. I'm sure that when they build tracks and when they set tracks, they know that some of these things are potential and the brakes can light up. And so, they probably take whatever precautions they can. But I'm sure it was a big crew. Was talking about 1.5 mile stretch of railway.
Well, I'm sure you had to have a lot of firefighters out there,
right,
for sure, for these. So several of them were little, of course, but some of them got really big, and really fast. So I just think it's one of the things too where I thought the neighbor who said it was Jenny who said, look, we thought we were going to be more in danger from fireworks, right? Because everything had been so dry, and then here it is, a train that's lighting people's backyards on fire. So
you never know. You never know.
You never know. And I just think we just hear, I guess it makes me think about the 24th of July. And we know that the governor has basically said cities can decide, but it doesn't seem wise to me unless you're in an area that really, really got a lot of moisture. And even then I'm questionable. Because we have so many things. We're going to talk about a mayor about this when we come later in the show. But coming up next, we're going to talk about a man in Carbon County who fell to his death. He was looking for a missing woman in the mountains. And search and rescue crews are warning now about volunteers working on their own. We're going to speak with a search and rescue expert next.
Some of you have heard me talking about SOTA weight loss. It was something I decided to do back in April of this year because I was gaining a little bit of weight and I could not get it off. Whatever I was doing was not working at all. Some of my clothes weren't fitting as well, and I just felt a little uncomfortable. Coming into summer, I thought, you know what? It's time to do something because what I was doing was not working. So I contacted SOTA. I didn't want to get on a medication schedule. I didn't want to get on pills. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It was just for me, I thought I wanted to at least try diet first, and diet was what worked. I had a nutritionist who contacted me, and she contacted me every week and literally had me stand on a scale and weigh myself and take a picture of what I weighed. And luckily, every week I lost weight. It averaged about 4.5 pounds a week, lost 30 pounds total over 7 weeks. The first month alone, I think I lost something like 16 pounds. And I've kept it off. I've kept it off thanks to their ongoing diet and just what I've learned working with SOTA. SOTA Diet Nutrition, really, SOTA. Say it with me. That is state of the art.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. Get a free oil filter and more during the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone, now through July 27th. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on every line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well,
this is really a sad story. A man in Carbon County fell to his death while trying to find a woman who's been missing in the mountains there for several months.
And, you know, it's one of the things I think where you have to ask yourself, is this wise? Law enforcement is saying, please don't self-deploy to help us.
Yeah, what was happening here was a woman was missing since February. She was a resident of Escalante area, and somehow she ended up in Price near 9 Mile Canyon. And I've done a lot of biking and hiking up in that area, so I know it really well. Beautiful area. She's been missing for some time, and a man decided he was going to go look for her. It's been several months, and he was in an area where there's some steep rocks and cliffs, fell to his death while trying to find this woman.
So maybe good intentions, but not a good end result. So we wanted to learn more about how people should help with search and rescue operations. And joining us right now is someone with a lot of experience in this realm. It's Scott Hammond. He's not only a Utah State University professor, but a longtime member of the Utah County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team. Thanks for joining us this morning, Scott.
Thank you, Holly.
I wonder go right ahead.
Well, that search has a lot of personal meaning for me because our team deployed and went down there and helped Carbon County several times look for this woman. So many people have looked for her.
Oh, so you guys were involved, your folks were involved in the search at the outset from when she became missing in February.
Yeah, actually not. We didn't really know where to look for her for about 3 weeks. And then eventually some oil workers found her car.
Oh, wow.
And that gave us a point where we could start. And Carbon County, Carbon County has a great search and rescue team, but they're not a large team. And our team is fairly large and has a lot of resources. And so we did a couple of days for them and helped out.
It's called 9 Mile Canyon for a reason. That is a big area. There's a lot to be searched there. I mean, Scott, I mean, it just seems like just endless trails and little cutouts and whatnot, canyons.
Yeah, and you know the camp, but it's actually way at the back of the canyon and then up on a ridge in a very precarious place.
So I wonder, can you just tell us what are some of the challenges you face as search and rescue with people who aren't trained doing search and rescue?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, certainly in this case it was tragic. I don't know the exact specific issue related to this man, but this is a very dangerous area, and team search and rescue teams like ours and everyone in the state train safety first. The number one rule in search and rescue is keep yourself safe so that you don't end up with two problems. And so you keep yourself safe and your teammates safe, and you're really careful. And this is a dangerous area. But the other side of that story is last week on our team, we were doing a search on Timpanogos, or a rescue on Timpanogos, which is fairly typical. I mean, we do this all summer long pretty much, where somebody will twist an ankle. And there were two 18-year-old young women up there with horses. And they brought the young man down on a horse for us. And that was just two strangers helping out. That was very helpful for us because carrying somebody down that 3 or 4 miles of trail is as hard as having a sprained ankle sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you do, Scott, when you have a big area that's being searched and you have people who are otherwise healthy and wanting to help you out and be involved in it, don't necessarily have your training, but you probably appreciate some volunteers, don't you? Or is it really just limited to your trained search and rescue personnel?
The main problem with that is that we need to know everybody who's in the search area. And we use a program called CalTOPA where we track where everybody goes. And that way, at the end of the day in a search, you can open up a map and see a grid of where everybody has been and know what areas have been searched and what areas have not been searched. By the way, if you take out the Carbon County grid, they're keeping the records on this. If you take that out of the search area for this woman, every corner of that place has been searched.
Wow.
It's just such a mystery. Every corner. I mean, there are just grid lines everywhere where people have gone.
Wow.
It's interesting you mentioned CalTOPA. We use that on the Powder Mountain Ski Patrol for the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's a much more confined area than what you're talking about here. Even Timpanogos was a big area. Carbon County, 9 Mile Canyon's a big area. We're a sort of a confined ski area, but still, you've got to know where people are, and you've got to know where your resources are, and you've got to know your sort of search zone, and so that you can keep track of where personnel are.
And have communication with them as well. So there are times when people can help and help in good ways, but they always need to coordinate with search and rescue or sheriff.
So I wanted to ask about your search and rescue volunteers. Are they more vulnerable to stress injuries? Are they more vulnerable to PTSD?
Oh, Holly, I really appreciate you answering that question. Search and rescue is really in most of the time has a happy ending. There's so many times when we get deployed. You don't hear it on the news. We get deployed probably 2 or 3 times a week in Utah County.
Wow.
And we go and help somebody down with a sprained ankle and mom's in the parking lot, and it's just a nice thing. But every once in a while you have to deal with something that's really tragic and very difficult. And trained volunteers, we have 60 volunteers on our team. Some teams are larger, some are smaller, but they deal with some really difficult issues. And when that happens, you have the same kind of vulnerability that police officers and EMS workers have with stress injuries, we call that, or PTSD, PTSI. And so dealing with that requires some pretty important steps. And Greg, you'd know this from having been on ski patrol, right? Every once in a while you step into something that's really difficult and very stressful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we take care of each other as a community, but there are also some real vulnerabilities.
So just as a follow-up then, you say that you do take care of each other. Is there some kind of like program that's established for people who have gone through some traumatic rescue?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, you have to, ahead of time, you have to build a team structure that is supportive so that when these things come along, you really have something to fall back on. And then when something very difficult happens, there are informal kinds of ways you can help each other and very formal ways. We call them critical incident stress management events, where you come together and do group therapy. Utah County Sheriff is very generous with having a outside group that will help people, that will facilitate these larger events and then help people individually with any kind of help they need, counseling they need. But I'll tell you one quick story. Several years ago, we had a very difficult body recovery on our team, and one of the people who was involved was very upset with this. And I went over to his house on a Sunday afternoon, a couple of days after this, to see if he was okay. And 3 or 4 of my team members were already there.
Yeah.
You just have to build that community and take care of each other.
Yeah, I've been through 2 of those debriefs, and I know how valuable they are. And you're absolutely right. These are your parts. These are the people you work with during the day, and when they're with you for something like this, and they're with you after the fact to debrief and to talk about, to download what you did, it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, it's amazing where you sit around with these really tough people, and some of them just cry through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's important. So we only have about 10 seconds left, but if somebody is in trouble and they need to contact you, is 911 the way they start the process?
911's the best because it gets through and it gets GPS coordinates to so you know exactly where the person who's calling is from, and that's the way to go, 911.
Okay, thanks so much. That's Scott Hammond, member of the Utah County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team. And you need to listen to KSL Brightside today because they're going to be broadcasting live from the Wasatch County Sheriff's Search and Rescue headquarters in Heber. So you're going to be able to hear how volunteer searchers are trained and what they deal with during these busy summers. That's coming up today from 1 to 3 on KSL Brightside.
And coming up next on Inside Sources, we're learning that a Southern Utah University grad student was among those service members killed in the Middle East over the weekend. We'll talk about that and get updates on the ongoing fighting with Iran when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour: over the past hour, the Beaver County Commission held an emergency meeting and declared an emergency and requested state and federal funds to help as they deal with burn scar flooding. Commissioner Wade Hollingshead says the area will continue to face flooding threats through the monsoon season, and there are more storms predicted to hit the area throughout the week. The Layton Police Department is now asking for the public's help after someone caused some significant damage to the lighting system at a baseball field in Ellison Park. It was the Northeast Ballpark, and police think it happened sometime between Tuesday and Thursday of last week. Anyone with information is encouraged to reach out. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: a federal appeals court today cleared the way for the Justice Department to release tapes of former President Joe Biden's interviews with his biographer from a decade ago.
Biden first sued the Department of Justice in May to try to block the release of the recordings and transcripts from the making of his 2017 memoir. But a divided 3-judge panel from the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on Tuesday that there was substantial public interest in releasing the materials. Republicans in Congress and the Conservative Heritage Foundation demanded the records be released after former special counsel Robert Hur obtained the recordings while investigating Biden's alleged mishandling of classified documents. Peter Harvalambous, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. Right now, the Dow is up 376 points. We're at 52,215. Coming up, we're on thunderstorm watch. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of Hollywood's most iconic scenes began on Utah roads.
Marvel could have shot anywhere and said, no, we want to do it here.
KSL takes you to the unforgettable locations and shares the stories behind them.
Did you come here specifically for the movie? Yeah, of course.
We love the movie.
Discover the Utah roads that became Hollywood icons. On location, Utah's Roads of Fame, Wednesday on KSL News at 10.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
Roadways looking really good. All our crashes have cleared up. No delays on all your major freeways. It's just normal slowdowns. Eastbound on 2100 North, pretty heavy right now between Redwood Road and I-15 and Lehigh. Also a little slow eastbound Pioneer Crossing right before you get to the freeway. Otherwise, though, nothing too terrible to look out for. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy today with a high of 99. We will have isolated thunderstorms moving across the state both today and tomorrow. Slightly more higher chance of storms tomorrow to watch out for. Right now, though, mostly cloudy and 85 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio. War in Iran.
Well, we're learning a little bit more about the war in Iran. President Trump met with the Lebanese president this morning, and they were talking about the war in Iran. And Trump said a couple of things. One, he said, we are not finished yet. And two, he said Iran is desperate to end the war. But these talks that we're hearing follow the deaths of 3 American service members over the weekend. One of those soldiers revealed to be a graduate student at our own Southern Utah University. We'll talk about that more in about 15 minutes.
In the meantime, the president has also said that every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over. What does that mean? What does that say about the future of the conflict? It doesn't sound like a de-escalation to me.
No, we're not. And we're certainly not anywhere near what we talked about several weeks ago, which was this ceasefire. I mean, we're on a full-blown, almost a full-scale war. And now we are hearing that what another group has jumped in, Hezbollah,
Houthis,
Yeah, the Houthis,
are blockading Saudi Arabia in the Red Sea. So we have an expert with us. He's got years of military leadership experience. It's retired Marine Colonel Bernard Dunn. Thanks for joining us, Colonel.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me today. How y'all doing?
We're good. Thank you so much. I wonder if you could just give us an overview from your perspective about what the latest is right now with the U.S. and Iran.
Well, yes, absolutely, and it's turned into a little bit of a tricky situation, not one that we cannot handle. But during the time of this ceasefire and our negotiations with Iran, obviously not in good faith, they kind of rearmed and refit, which is exactly what I expected they would do. And even though their military is almost completely wiped out, as they still have the ability to put up at least a front. And what I believe they're trying to do is maybe just wait till the midterms, and they think that somehow that's going to give them some rest, if you will. But in the meantime, our military, the best in the world, is going to take the fight to them. And we've been doing it for 10 days straight. And I suspect it's going to continue extensively at least another 2 or 3 weeks.
You would think, Colonel, that based on the conversations and negotiations that happened a couple of weeks ago, that they were at least close to they certainly had a memorandum of understanding. There was a ceasefire in place, and then it just kind of all blew up. And I don't know which side's to blame, if anyone, but whatever happened that seemingly got us to the point of some sort of resolution just isn't in place anymore. What do you think's going on?
Well, I think that our enemies lie to us. We should expect that. Even in the negotiation table, it's very obvious they lied and they made agreements, or individuals made agreements. They'd take it home to Iran, and then the Iran, whoever is in charge of Iran right now, and I'm not sure we really know deep down who's actually running the country. But I think it was just very disingenuous, and it seems to me that may have been part of their plan. Delay as long as possible, and then try to get some more shots in for whatever reason. It's not logical. But the Iranian people have never been a logical people. When they say they want to destroy America and they want to destroy Israel, they mean it. They're not just using words. We put red lines out when a previous administration put a couple red lines in Syria, and every time those red lines were crossed, we did nothing. And so that we became a non-serious nation when it came to drawing red lines. And so in the Iran situation, President Trump has been very clear. If you do this, there'll be a massive result. And we've shown that if you take an American life or even try to, we're going to put devastating military power on you. And I hope we keep the pressure on this time.
So I wanted to ask whether this conflict could expand into a wider regional role, because I am definitely seeing that surrounding countries are literally coming under fire. What do you think the chances are that this could really blow up?
Well, I was just speaking to a friend of mine in Kuwait. He's a retired military guy, and right now in Kuwait, even though we see a lot of news, the individuals that I'm speaking with are not concerned. And these are some very senior military personnel. They're not concerned because they believe the U.S. is going to take care of the situation. What I am surprised, and maybe there's negotiations going on that we don't see, but I'm surprised some of these other nations like Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and even Kuwait have not launched their own strikes into Iran. And maybe that's because, I don't know this, but I think it's probably because some negotiation we have with them. The more jets and the more people you put into the mix, the more dangerous it becomes. If you see a jet flying, it's not an American jet, even though everybody that's flying, all of our teammates, if you will, they all speak English and very well, I might add. The pilots do at least. It still puts risk when you add other jets, other aircraft, other helicopters, not just for our men and women flying, but for them too, because our pilots are not going to take a risk and our ships are not going to take a risk. So if you have a Saudi jet and it's flying the wrong pattern, it looks like a missile, or they think it's an Iranian jet or something, they're going to shoot it down, just as we've seen some of our aircraft get shot down in Kuwait. So I hope they stay out. What I really want is support in the form of bases and anything we need. And if they can do that, I think that's going to go a long way to ending this next round of conflict.
And it does seem, Colonel, that they do have those support from those bases, and unfortunately, or maybe just this is part of the plan, Iran is hitting those military bases, which is by sort of by extension bringing those other countries into it. Do you think that's a plan by the Iranians to try to hit all the U.S. military bases in the surrounding countries, even though it's going to anger those surrounding countries?
I do think that's their plan. I have some of my folks that work for me that are on some of those bases in different locations in the Middle East. Their bases have come under fire. All my folks are safe. We have to check in with them every day, but they know what's going on. We're very well aware of that. It doesn't make sense, though, right?
Right.
Why would Iran want to add additional enemies to this fight? I really think they don't have a strategic clue on what they're doing. And I do believe they're being advised by Russia and China. That's just a guess. It makes perfect sense to me, because if I was Russia or China, I would want to keep the U.S. tied up as long as possible in Iran, just like it's in our best interest as a nation for Ukraine and Russia to keep going as long as possible. That focuses our one of our peer adversaries on something else, and it allows us, in essence, to gain an edge over time.
So I wanted to ask you, just in the last minute that we have, about the service member deaths that occurred over the weekend. So we know that 2 service members were killed in Jordan, and then a U.S. soldier died in Iraq. Can you just talk about being a leader of troops and when things like this happen?
It's brutal. It's brutal for the families and for the men and women that are killed, but for the commanders, it's a brutal thing. I had some Marines that had worked for me before, and they transferred out of my unit into another unit, and then there was a training accident, and 5 of them killed. And even though they weren't under my command, the pain was unbelievable. Just for all of the Marines that had worked with them. So it's brutal. It's a very sad thing. But the cost, this is a hard thing to say. We need as a nation to ensure the cost and the sacrifice for these men and women that have perished and been wounded in this conflict, that it's worth it by ensuring Iran is either completely annihilated or never can possess a nuclear weapon, because they would surely use it. So thank God for President Trump, because I do not believe, I would be shocked. Not only shocked, I'd be very disappointed if he would ever back down in this situation, because those men and women gave their life, and we should not think light of that. As a nation, not just as a family and as a military member, as a nation, we should not think light of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was retired Marine Colonel Bernard Dunn.
Yep.
And coming up next on Inside Sources, among those killed in the conflict with Iran is an SUU graduate student, First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan. He was killed over the weekend in Jordan. We're going to share more about him after the break.
Hi, thanks for calling Uline.
Wait, did the phone even ring?
Nope.
Okay, so you answered before the ring. But now you're going to put me on hold, right?
We don't do that here. We're real people answering the phone, ready to help with your order when you are.
Uline has thousands of quality products for your business and warehouse needs, always in stock, ready to ship same day, and backed by Uline's legendary 24/7 customer service. Uline, we warehouse for you.
For 250 years, the beating heart of the USA has been the people who call this land home and the communities we make here together. America First Credit Union is proud to have been a part of those communities for 87 years and proud to help our members realize their financial dreams. So come join us in celebrating and succeeding the way Americans always have. Together. Federally insured by NCUA.
Breaking news doesn't wait, and neither should you. You can get immediate news text alerts anytime news breaks. Download the KSL News Radio app for free breaking push alerts on your phone, or you can subscribe to our breaking news text line. Just text news to 57500 to get started. KSL News Radio, your home for breaking news.
Jane is a small business owner.
That's right.
And tell them what that's like, Jane.
Yeah, well, it's like a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, and some days things can feel like they're flying off the rails.
Yep, it's a lot. But the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business can help you manage it all. with the largest, fastest fiber-powered network designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect. Plus gig speeds with security and equipment included, all with a 5-year price lock.
Nice. So everything stays on track.
Exactly. The Total Solutions Advantage. Get started for just $60 a month for 12 months when you add wireless connect to a qualifying internet package. No one does business like Comcast Business.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and automatic payments with bank account required. $60 offer requires 300 meg internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
And I said, Josh, where are you? You need to get home.
And her husband will never be held accountable.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
and you want to think about it for a couple of days?
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
I'm Dave Cawley, host of the podcast Cold.
Then he starts making phone calls to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back.
It's the deepest of deep dives into this tragic tale of abuse.
Where was Josh when Susan disappeared?
I don't know. Of one mother's desperate attempt to escape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
Help prevent it from happening again.
Our focus has and continues to be finding Susan.
Listen and learn by following Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Among those killed in the war in Iran is a Southern Utah University graduate. He graduated with his bachelor's degree from there, and he is a current student in SUU's MBA program, was supposed to graduate in just a few weeks. That's First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan.
Yeah, he was killed in action in Jordan over the weekend, and the SUU community will honor First Lieutenant Feehan later this week and will posthumously award him his MBA degree in recognition of his academic achievement. Good for them. Good for them.
So yesterday, SUU President Mindy Benson announced that it was with a heavy heart that she was sharing news that one of our own, she said, was among the soldiers killed in action. He was in the ROTC there on campus as an undergraduate, and there are pictures of him in his uniform there at SUU. But in memoriam, part of what the SUU community is doing, it will start on Thursday this week with a legacy celebration. They're doing a recognition during the Pioneer Legacy Celebration at SUU. And then next week, the Carter Carillon will be adorned with yellow ribbon and play the Army song every hour on the hour.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's tough when it hits close to home. SUU student, graduate student there, and then in the graduate program again, getting his MBA. I mean, he had the whole world in front of him.
So I mentioned ROTC. He got his commission as an air defense artillery officer in the United States Army through ROTC in the spring of 2024. He was living in Hawaii. That's where he was stationed. So he was doing his master's degree, his MBA degree online, which is a great opportunity that SUU offers. And like you mentioned, he was approved for graduation and was going to finish in just a few weeks.
Yeah, he was just a young man.
Yep.
I mean, he was a lieutenant there, a second lieutenant, first lieutenant actually, and had served in the military, was with the Marine Corps, I think.
Army,
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting everything wrong.
It's okay.
I've got two people mixed up here. And serving in Jordan at a U.S. military base there. Of course, the Iranians hit a lot of U.S. military bases in surrounding countries, including Jordan, over the weekend. And from what I heard about this particular Jordanian attack, there were a number of drones that came in, and the U.S. defense was only able to get a few of them knocked out. I don't know whether they just didn't have their enough defenses in place. In part, I've also heard this, and this kind of goes with the speaker that we just had. After the ceasefire or the memorandum of understanding, I think our own military started backing off a little bit. Some of our planes and boats in the area were leaving, thinking that we were close to a settlement. And as our last guest said, it just kind of gave Iran the chance to, what he said, rearm and refit. And maybe that's what they did, which means we were really, like he said, misled in terms of what was going on. And then you can attack some of our military bases, because not that we had our guard down, they certainly had our guard up, but not in the same way we would have been. Right. 2 or 3 weeks earlier.
I don't know that that's true, actually. I think it's always kind of fraught with tension over there, and especially when the ceasefire was never even. I think even though they said the ceasefire was in place, they didn't cease firing. And then when the ceasefire collapsed, right, then I think everything ratcheted back up. But I don't know that they let their guard down. I will say this though. He was in Jordan as part of an anti-Islamic State mission, right? So he wasn't there specifically for Iran. He was there for the Islamic State, pushing back against them. But there was one other soldier killed also. That was Private Isabella Gonzalez. She was only 19. Tyler was only 25. But they were the two who were killed in Jordan. And then just this morning, the news identified the person who was killed in Iraq, and he was somebody who was they had downed a drone, and they were trying to decommission it, and it exploded and ended up killing this other service member in Iraq. So he was identified just this morning.
And we don't necessarily keep track of counts, but it's almost 17, 18.
I think it's 18 now.
Troops that have now been killed in part of this conflict. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a terrible, terrible number. But in light of what's going on there, the U.S. military's got to feel like they've done a good job of keeping their troops alive.
So I want to tell you this about the other person that they identified just this morning. It was Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton from North Carolina. It was his wife who announced that he was the one who had died. He leaves behind a 6-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter. And Swinton is going to receive a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and Combat Action Badge, and he'll be promoted posthumously to Staff Sergeant. So this is, again, 3 over the weekend, 2 different locations, but one that hits close to home because an SUU student who spent time there, graduated from there with his bachelor's degree, getting a master's degree.
And SUU is certainly stepping up to the plate, giving him that degree posthumously. I wonder if you think there's any traction to what our last guest said, which is that it's in Iran's best interest to continue to stall out the war until after the midterms, believing that then there will be sort of a change in dynamics of what we're doing in this country.
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know that if you had a Democratic Congress, they're going to come in and end the war or something like that.
Look, this isn't a Democrat. This
Yeah.
is Utah Senator John Curtis is like, look, we have to have Congress voting on these military operations specifically and particularly after the weekend strikes, right? So Senator Curtis was talked to Cami Mondo, who is our congressional correspondent we talked to a lot on this show, and he said that he is, quote, constantly evaluating and constantly searching, unquote, for Congress's role in the conflict because it's supposed to be the War Powers Act is supposed to give the president the authority to act for up to 60 days. It can be extended once for a 30-day period to go to a total of 90 days, but then it has to go to Congress for authorization. Of course, we're way past the 90 days. It hasn't gone to Congress. And they have tried to put forward War Powers Act restricting the president's ability to wage this war, and it keeps getting voted down.
That's what I mean. And good for Senator Curtis, but it seems like there are a growing number of congressional representatives who do want to get involved in that. And after the midterms, we're likely to have a majority Democrat, at least in the House.
Yeah, and this article by Cami Mondo is like, it's not clear if John Curtis is going to be able to push for a vote for Congress to weigh in before the Senate leaves for its annual August recess. So they're leaving, I think, the end of this week. They've got 3 more days, and then they're gone for a month.
And the House is already, I think, ahead of them, or at least
they're stymied in what they're trying to get done. But look, I think it's important to remember that when we choose to engage in military conflict, that the risk of death is always there. And in fact, I will say that it happens in other places too, right? Our last guest talked about losing people who had been part of his team in a training accident. They weren't part of his team when they died, but that happens too. And I think one of the things when we talk about, sometimes we get a little glib maybe in saying, home of the free because of the brave, and we thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Well, they sign up knowing that it's a possibility, but they don't sign up with the expectation that they're going to be killed in service.
Yeah, and 3 U.S. Military members killed just over the last few days. A 19-year-old woman, a 25-year-old Utah, and then another man who's
30.
Leaving 2 children behind.
30 years old. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you say, they sign up for that at the risk of that, just like our law enforcement community does. But still, when it happens, it just hits really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, coming up on Inside Sources, fireworks restrictions will be a little less strict for the Pioneer Day holiday than it was over the 4th of July. Governor Cox announced plans to leave it up to the cities. We'll chat with the local mayor and get her reaction to that when we come back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, we're waiting to hear more from fire investigators in Roy after they say sparks from a train caused multiple grass fires last evening, destroying 3 homes and damaging other property. Osha Mobley says her backyard and shed were damaged, but her house is okay.
I was extremely scared that we were going to lose our house and all my clothes, everything I have would be gone.
She says some of her neighbors' homes are gone.
I've lived on this street since I was 12, so I know a lot of the people on this street, and I'm very worried about them and their safety and their homes.
Hundreds of people were evacuated by the fire. Fire crews are still hard at work across the state. The Buck Basin fire in Wasatch County is 96% contained after burning about 145 acres. The Stookie fire in Tooele County is 40% contained after reaching 10,000 acres. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, CVS pharmacies are rolling out a new feature that will let customers pick up pet medications along with their own prescriptions.
The procedure will be the same way us humans get your medicine. Your vet will either give you a paper prescription that you can bring to the store, or they can call it in, and then you just pick it up. And just like that, your pets have the medications they need. And just like with people, medications can be refilled automatically, and some can even be delivered right to your door.
ABC's Rhiannon Alley reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 490 points. At this hour, we're at 52,336. Coming up, we've got pop-up thunderstorms across the state. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:31. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Let me tell you what your next 4 weeks could look like, because right now, Soda Diet Nutrition is giving listeners of this show, KSL News Radio, 4 weeks free when you call 866-800-SODA and mention this radio station. And let me tell you what they can do for you in those same 4 weeks. Everything will feel different. Your energy, your weight, the way your clothes will fit. They helped me lose 18 pounds in 4 weeks. And because they believe that weight loss should be temporary, they work on it quickly. They get you down to the weight you need. In me, I lost almost 30 pounds in 7 weeks, but the results should last forever. Instead of putting you on shots and pills or expensive medications that become an ongoing commitment, Soda teaches you, and they taught me how to eat for your body, keep the weight off for good. And I've kept my weight off. Soda recognizes that weight loss medications can cost a lot of money, and you don't have to spend that. You can do it based solely on your diet, your food that you buy at your grocery store. Remember, Soda Diet Nutrition, 866-800-SOTA. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
As we celebrate America 250, KSL presents Utah Cornerstones, honoring the businesses that built our past and continue to shape our future.
Some businesses sell products, others become part of a community's legacy. Since 1948, Duke's Jewelers has been a trusted part of Springville and Utah families' most meaningful moments. That's 80 years of meaningful craftsmanship, founded by J. Melvin Duke. The tradition continues today under fourth-generation owner Kimberly Narupe, who quite literally grew up in the family shop. She has a fresh perspective and deep respect for tradition. Guided by values of care, honesty, and exceptional craftsmanship, Duke's Jewelers creates pieces designed to last a lifetime, because every design begins with a story. Since Duke's is a family-owned store with lower overhead, they can offer better diamonds and craftsmanship at a better price. Learn more about this Utah Cornerstone at dukesjewelers.com.
Utah Cornerstones on KSL News Radio.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. And here's McKenna Rodriguez.
In Utah County, a disabled vehicle on northbound I-15 at Center Street, also on the right shoulder there, so it's not affecting traffic. No delays along north and southbound I-15 between Ogden and Provo. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll get up to 99 today with a chance of thunderstorms lingering, and that chance of rain even stronger. Tomorrow, we only get up to 92 degrees here in Salt Lake City tomorrow, 94 on Thursday. Right now, it's mostly cloudy and 84 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, fireworks restrictions are back on the Pioneer Day holiday. Kind of. But unlike the 4th of July, which saw kind of a blanket statewide ban, Governor Cox is leaving it up to the cities in what he's calling a hybrid fireworks policy, leaving it up to the cities to decide.
He did say, though, he thinks people in northern Utah should avoid them, but that doesn't mean that they will.
Yeah, and so each city's doing their own thing. Could this spell additional problems? I don't know. The fireworks season has been really bad. The fire season has been worse. We've been speaking over the last couple of weeks with Bountiful Mayor Kate Bradshaw about restrictions, and she joins us again this morning to discuss her reaction to this latest announcement. Mayor, thanks for joining us again.
Greg, Holly, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what's your reaction this go around?
Well, as president of the Utah League of Cities and Towns, I'm very pleased that the governor saw a path forward for granting local control on this issue. Each community, as you mentioned with your intro, is experiencing this in different ways. Weather conditions are different, resources are different, and so the ability to react with what's happening immediately in your area, I think, is really important.
So what happens on a city by city basis, and what is your city doing? Do you sit down with your planners and your other organizers and come up with a plan, or have you already got that in place?
So the governor and his team made an announcement yesterday, and it put in place a very short timeline to make decisions. Cities have until today at 2:00 to confirm to the state forester if they're going to exercise any of the menu options that the governor provided. So from when that announcement was made yesterday to 2:00 today is pretty tight. I spent yesterday afternoon and evening in a meeting with the other surrounding mayors to Bountiful. We are all part of the South Davis Metro Fire Service area, so we pool our fire resources. So what my neighbors are doing and how we share those resources matters to me. So got their feedback. I have talked to every single member of the Bountiful City Council to get their feedback, and our city manager or chief of police. So every city up and down the state is doing this rapid consultation, consideration of what's happening on the ground to make the best decision possible.
So, Mayor, I wanted to ask you about the restrictions over the 4th of July and whether you saw in your area, were they effective at keeping down like spontaneous wildfires? Do you think it helped?
I do think it helped. Overall, the League of Cities and Towns did a survey of cities after that 4th of July window. And the report from cities top to bottom was that we saw a reduction in fire starts, and we also saw an increase in the ability of cities to provide mutual aid to their neighbors or to send resources to some of the big fires that were burning in South and Central Utah. So we think it did make a difference in terms of just things are so dry, conditions are such that things that might normally not start a fire in a different year are starting fires this year. And so reduction in any area helps with the overall response so that we preserve life, so that we preserve property, so that we have safety for our communities.
And do you expect that sometime between now and 2:00 that a lot of the cities in Davis County, your surrounding cities, will come to sort of a joint understanding or resolution or plan, announcement maybe, as to what they plan to do for the 24th?
I do. I've been in touch with not just my neighboring cities, but cities up and down the state. Everyone is doing this work to quickly check in, and we have been, aware that this was likely a possibility. So we've been keeping very close eye on conditions, very tight communications with our public safety teams, our fire chiefs, our police chiefs. So I think we're all prepared to make that decision. We're doing it quickly because that's what's needed as we head into this firework window. And so, I'm going to be, after I'm done talking with you, I'll be meeting with our fire chief here, and then I'll be making that determination so that we're ready to submit and upload to the state forester our decision in time for that 2:00 deadline. So, and I'm confident in all of my fellow elected officials. We're all at this point used to dealing with interesting circumstances that come your way in serving, and everyone's prepared to step up and make the big decisions that are needed. And they could vary across the communities based on the menu the governor and the state forester gave us this time.
So, Mayor, I wanted to just make sure that I'm understanding correctly. We're really talking about whether people can do their own fireworks show, the cul-de-sac of fire stuff. It doesn't really impact the professional shows that may be citywide or something that had already been planned. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct, Holly. So professional shows are really in a different category. First, they're planned with our fire officials. We have fire trucks stationed at professional shows. Fire marshals have the go, no-go on those shows based on weather conditions and wind and things like that. You're also shifting fire resources based on whatever wind patterns you might be seeing. So professional shows, much like at the 4th of July window, are not affected. Communities can go on with those. And frankly, we would encourage people to do those. I can tell you here in Bountiful, we've actually added some additional budget to our professional show that is the 25th on Saturday. So we will have, a very robust professional show that we feel like is, no pun intended, the best bang for the buck for our residents and the safest opportunity for them to celebrate and enjoy Pioneer holiday. And of course, in Bountiful, we celebrate Handcart Days.
Yeah.
And you have a special parade going on Saturday, don't you, in Bountiful?
We do. It is our Handcart Days festival, and so we will have a parade Saturday morning, activities at our city park throughout the day, and then culminating in our professional fireworks show. So there is very much a difference, as Holly was pointing out, between professional fireworks shows and the safety we feel like.
Oh no!
Oh, good heavens.
Also,
there we are.
Oh, I'm back, I think.
Yeah, you're back.
Anyway, there's a difference between the professional shows and personal fireworks and the level of safety we feel like those offer people.
Yeah. I had one other question about just how can people find out what's happening in their communities if they're going to be allowed to, purchase and use personal fireworks and sometime after 2:00 this afternoon. How are they going to know?
Yeah, so I would encourage people, follow your city on social media. Every city's going to have a social media presence. Sign up. That's probably where you'll get the fastest alerts on what's happening. Also, check out your city's website. And then the state forester at the Fire Info website will also be taking all of those maps statewide and posting them so that you can have a one-stop shop there.
All right, you and Holly both missed my setup on the last question, which was for the Handcart Days parade, because you have two special guests who are going to be part of that. Did you know that?
Are you guys going to be there?
We are
That's
going to be in
fantastic.
the parade. Yeah, will we see you there?
I will be there. I will be there with the Bountiful City Council. We'll be right up front. I'm going to be sporting some fabulous patriotic overalls
There you
that
go.
our city council has selected, and I cannot wait to display those for the residents of Bountiful.
Well, KSL is going to have a float there, and they've asked Holly and I to participate
Among
in
others.
your
We're
parade.
not the
And
only ones.
But it's kind of cool. So we will Bountiful Day. So we're kind of excited about that.
We are excited.
Well, we will look forward to welcoming you. I will make it a point to come find you all as we're staging for that parade. We are excited. There's so many ways, frankly, to have fun without fireworks this year. Things are so dry. Conditions are dry. So many resources are needed in other parts of the state. Whatever your community selects, I still highly encourage people to consider that there are many ways that you can celebrate our awesome Pioneer heritage. You can celebrate your community. You can join with family and friends. And not all of them need to include fireworks. And in fact, you can have a lot of fun with movie nights, with barbecues, with water balloons and all kinds of things.
I'm going to ask you a short question. Do you have a favorite Pioneer Day food that you make or eat?
Well, you can't go wrong with your classic hot dog or barbecue, burger. So I don't know if our pioneer ancestors, did meats quite in that way,
Probably not.
but I do, And so anything that's grilled, especially in the summer, I feel like is a great sweet treat. Also, summer is about a popsicle. A Paces Pop is also going to hit the spot on a hot day.
All right. I love Jell-O. So thanks. Bountiful Mayor Kate Bradshaw, and also she's head of the League of Cities and Towns. Coming up next on Inside Sources, the community really has come together as hundreds of thousands of dollars have been raised to support the last daughter of a family killed in the flash floods in Wayne County. It's such a sad story, but there's a lot of support that's coming out, and we're going to talk about that after the break.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed, and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years, and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company, and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan, and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200, and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
There's nothing better than getting outside with the people you love. And in Utah, we have endless ways to stay active and healthy outdoors. But staying healthy also means staying safe. Intermountain Health recommends that you wear the right gear, stay hydrated, protect your skin, and plan ahead before you go. Know your limits and choose activities that keep it safe and fun for everyone. Because when you make health and safety a part of every adventure, you're taking care of what matters most: your life, your health.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
I think my biggest challenge was getting through to him to understand that love is real and you have goals in mind, you have things that want to happen, and I want to help you get there.
Sometimes people tend to shy away from wanting to adopt teenagers because they feel like they've lost so much, but there's still so much to gain.
Just knowing that there's just that other person that cares and loves me out there, it feels great. And they've done so much for me, and I can only be appreciative every single day for just having them in my life.
I think it's been the best decision because I gained a son, and he's the best son ever. If I was down and out, he'd be there.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard. Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
The new Inside Sources.
So it's a heartwarming development after such a tragic story. So Utahns are stepping up. I knew that they would. I knew we would, to support the lone daughter left after 5 members of her family were killed in a flash flood in Wayne County.
And if you recall, what happened over the weekend was 5 of her family members were hiking in an area called the Sunglow Campground area. They'd gone up into the hills a little bit, up into the little bit steeper area, and it's a little campground that's just a couple miles east of Bicknell, off of Highway 24 in Wayne County there, sort of between Loa and Torrey. They were hiking up there, and they got caught up in this flash flood. All 5 family members were killed as a part of that. And, yeah, donations have now been pouring in for Lydia Vernon. She is the daughter of Katrina Long, the mother who died, and along with her stepfather, her brother, and 2 half-brothers were also killed in that tragic accident.
Yeah, and I saw yesterday that as she was coming home, so she was living out of state. She was working in Kentucky as a nurse. So she's come home to bury her family, and I can't even imagine the heartbreak, right? But they lived in Mona, and community members in Mona and across the region came together to show support for her. So the route from I-15 into Mona all the way to the family's front door was lined with people. It's just really incredible. There were American flags everywhere. There was a ladder arch, and people there to show their support for her. Just, it's a small community, really. And I feel like there's a lot of people who knew people in this family. And I've told you, my daughter knew somebody who is one of Lydia's really good friends. I've got friends in the political world who have worked with Katrina, who is also active in politics, and people, of course, in the firefighter community just come together to support them. And that was just one thing.
Yeah. It's no surprise. It's a cute little community, Mona. It's just north of Nephi. I think it's in Juab County. And we heard about this story. It was unbelievable just to think about that loss and think about her situation. I mean, if you lose a family member, it's devastating. You lose 5 family members. I mean, that's her life. That's a huge part of her life.
Oh, yeah.
And the donations are pouring in, which is good. I mean, there's a little bit of a silver lining to this horrible tragedy, but it's like we talked about with Utahns just stepping up to the plate.
I want to talk about a little barber shop in Nephi. So this KSL.com covered this story, but there was a barber shop that turned a day of haircuts yesterday. They donated all of their sales to Lydia. So it was Branded Barbers. They raised approximately $4,500.
Wow.
Everybody worked without pay all day long to contribute to Katrina. Sorry, not Katrina, to contribute to Lydia. But Spencer Long and the boys would come into that shop for haircuts from time to time. And Katrina often donated raffle items from her business, which was Summit Medical Spa, to the annual fundraiser for veterans that this barbershop did. And one of the things that was really touching is that the barbershop owner, they said people come in who didn't need haircuts, but they wanted to participate.
Contribute, yeah. Good for them, and good for the barbershop. What a clever idea. You don't think about something like that, a barbershop, but they did. Their employees said, we will work today for free.
Yeah,
they raised $4,500. That's a lot of money. That's
right.
A lot of haircuts.
And then one of the friends of the family, Bree Nielsen, created a GoFundMe fundraiser. And it has over $265,000 in donations right now. That'll go to help pay for funeral expenses, of course, and then to help Lydia in her future as she moves forward.
Yeah, without her family, without her mother and stepfather and brother and 2 stepbrothers. I mean, and I keep looking at that picture because they keep showing the picture of this family.
The family, yep.
And it just, and he was a firefighter.
Yeah, he was.
In that part of the state, and I think he was like a fire captain.
He was a captain in Utah County. Yep.
Yeah.
Provo Fire Department.
Right.
He was also, not only did he do like Provo firefighting, he also was a wildland firefighter and smoke jumper.
Yeah.
Right. So he was a jack of all firefighting trades.
And his wife was an activist too. She was very active in the community, and what great role models those people must have been for the children and for the surviving daughters and stepdaughter.
So again, Utah does a really good job, I think, of jumping in and supporting. And I think we can see, I mean, everybody knows this is going to be a long, hard road for Lydia. I haven't heard yet about funeral plans for the family, but I anticipate that they're going to have an awful lot of support for that.
Yeah, I was just trying to find the where people could jump in on the GoFundMe account. I don't see it here, but I'll look for it while we're talking.
They can just, if they look at GoFundMe, it's Support Lydia After Tragic Loss. So GoFundMe.com, Support Lydia After Tragic Loss. And you can see it there. Again, created by the friend Bree Nielsen, who is a friend of the family. So Also, I think there's going to be a processional for Spencer Long and the other family members, the other 4 family members, as their bodies are moved from Taylorsville to the mortuary in Provo. So this will happen today at about 1 o'clock. So you're going to be able to see some agencies on overpasses from Taylorsville to Provo, depending on the communities and things. But we've seen those kinds of professionals. They are so touching and emotional. And Chopper 5 is going to be over that professional. You can watch it on YouTube and our Facebook accounts starting at about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's going to start around 1 o'clock. They're going to go from Taylorsville to Provo, so I'm thinking they may want to go on one of those side roads on the west side of Utah Lake. You can get down there without ever getting on the freeway. I don't know what they're...
I think they'll go on the freeway. I mean, that's what they've done before.
Maybe so, yeah. I mean... that'll be a heartbreaking long drive for a lot of people, and I'm sure that the fire community and other groups from around the state will be there and be part of that and be part of that processional.
I told you that when I saw the news over the weekend, that I first saw other fire departments posting their condolences for the Provo Fire Department. I hadn't seen the news yet that Captain Spencer Long was one of the victims in this these flash floods. What I saw was like Pleasant Grove Fire Department and American Fork and these other fire departments with the badge and the black line through it and posting their condolences, and then it was a little bit later in the day where Provo Fire posted and said, we're just devastated to announce this loss.
And it is a brother and sisterhood, the fire department. I mean, I just received a text from a friend of mine who's a retired firefighter from South Salt Lake just about this. I mean, he doesn't text me, but he texted me something about this individual. And it was just like, I mean, it got to him. It gets to the people in that community because they're so tight and they work so hard. I mean, they save lives. They do things that are very difficult that some of us couldn't do. And then when something happens to one of them, they remember that brotherhood.
And firefighters have been really busy this year. So not just with wildfires, but we even just saw yesterday, right? The firefighters deployed up in Roy for the house fire, house fires because of the train. But yeah, part of the family, and Lydia is the remaining survivor with her mother, her stepfather, her brother who just returned from a church mission in December, and then her 2 younger half brothers. I think they were 12 and 13, if I remember seeing their ages correctly.
Yeah,
all lost this last weekend.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful area, beautiful part of the state. I mean, I know that Sunglow Campground area very well because I've ridden my bike through there, and so that's why it was hard for me to envision what would have happened. I mean, they had to be up in the cliff area a little bit, and they call it a box canyon where they got up into. But boy, when the water hits, and I'm sure they were caught completely off guard. And
we may or may not find out more information, but I'm wondering even if maybe mom and dad jumped in to save.
Help somebody.
We don't know. We don't know, but we'll if we find out, of course, we'll let our listeners know.
Absolutely. Well, when we come back for the next hour of Inside Sources, we want to dig into a couple of things. One is rural Utah communities often face healthcare and food deserts, and by that I mean they just don't have enough, and there's the very dearth of those services. But there are programs expanding right now to make sure that folks in those areas not only survive, but they thrive. We'll get some information on food insecurity and what's happening to address this when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour, the Beaver County Commission has signed an emergency declaration opening up the area for federal funding aid. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Commissioner Wade Hollingstead introduced the resolution, declaring Beaver County to be in a local emergency.
Assistance is requested from the state of Utah, the federal government, to provide all necessary resources to address the impacts of the flooding, protect life and property, and support recovery efforts for affected residents.
The resolution follows massive flooding triggered by rains falling on the burn scar left from the Cottonwood fire. The scar acted closer to concrete than soil, funneling water straight into the Beaver River, which overflowed into the town. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Beaver Mayor Matt Robinson says it's been hard with the constant flood threats.
There is some anxiety and not knowing exactly what is coming is sometimes challenging. But I'll tell you, we have an incredibly resilient community and state. Our surrounding communities have been incredible. And if there is a silver lining, it's to realize people are really fantastic. People are really awesome. And the amount of support that we have felt in such a short period of time is just incredible.
He says right now they're focusing on the emergency alert system so no one else gets hurt. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 500 points. That's nearly 1%. The S&P 500 is up 69 points. That's also nearly 1%. The Nasdaq is up 358 points. That's nearly 1.5%. And oil is up $1.75 a barrel. That's over 2%. Coming up, it's going to be hot and muggy today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Jeff Kaplan here, Xfinity Wi-Fi customer. I don't know how bad inflation's going to be in the months and years ahead, but I do know the inflation rate is 0 with the Xfinity Wi-Fi 5-year price lock guarantee. The most intelligent Wi-Fi that even fixes itself when there's a problem. Wi-Fi that hits every corner of your home, powered by fiber, built for speed. All of the benefits of the Xfinity network with 99.999% reliability and a 5-year price lock guarantee. Same price for 5 years, and this is important, no contracts, no commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You get everything you need. It's all included. Data, the best equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Yours within minutes, the price. Locked in for 5 years. Go to Xfinity.com or visit a store today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Hi, I'm Mike Kay at My Policy Quote. And if you missed open enrollment or did enroll in one of those marketplace government plans, it's not too late. I save my clients 30 to 60%. That's an average of $3,500 to $9,000 in premium savings. At My Policy Quote, you can choose any doctor, 0 deductible for outpatient expenses, and oh, one more thing, premiums are not tied to your income, so there's no surprise tax penalty at the end of the year like those government plans. And unlike those ACA plans where the use prices are dictated, with me, all of your costs are managed by you, so you control your out-of-pocket. If you pay your own health insurance, you're on COBRA, uninsured, your employer is just too much, or even self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 385-367-6779, or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com to get started now.
Join me on the trip of a lifetime, an 8-day enchanting Rhine River cruise, August 7th through the 14th, 2027, so a year from August, aboard the elegant Amafiora, sailing from Basel, Switzerland to Amsterdam. We will cruise through the heart of Europe, past medieval castles, vineyard-covered hillsides, and storybook villages in France, Germany, and the Netherlands. And Morris Columbus Travel planned every single detail, so we just show up and enjoy ourselves. We're talking gourmet dining, licensed local guides at every port, a Morris Columbus tour manager right there on board, and exclusive pricing with savings of thousands off brochure rates. They've reserved just 50 cabins for our group, and I will be there for Q&A sessions and just to spend time together. This is a bucket list journey for me, and I hope you'll join me. Book in one click at morriscolumbus.com/KSL or call a Morris Columbus advisor at 800-999-4646. Optional pre-cruise Switzerland and post-cruise Amsterdam tours available too. Come see Europe with me. I can't wait.
Morris Columbus.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's McKenna Rodriguez.
We're seeing some slowdowns on southbound Highway 89 as you reach I-84. The delays start up there as you pass Harrison Boulevard. And along I-15, we're looking at no out-of-the-ordinary delays in both directions. Earn double points on gas and groceries this summer, plus 10,000 bonus points when you open a new Cypress CU Rewards Visa. Learn more at cypresscu.com. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, the high is going to be 99 with a chance of thunderstorms and humidity expected to be around 40 to 50%. Rest of the week, it's going to be in the mid-90s. Right now, though, 90 degrees and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We want to talk about Utahns trying to bridge the gap between rural and urban, the gaps that exist between rural and urban Utah, especially when it comes to things like healthcare and food.
We talked a little bit yesterday about some of the programs, including part of the Rural Health Transformation Program. There's a press conference right now, and the governor is speaking. We want to go right to that.
As we celebrate the 24th of July, the people who came here first, I like to remind people that there was a famous bet that no one could grow basically anything in this area, $1,000 for the first bushel of corn, and here we are. You can see the corn in the background. We've been growing things ever since, but only because people worked really hard to make that happen. It will. Agriculture, farming, and ranching really built Utah, and it will continue to shape our future as we move forward. Stronger rural communities means a stronger Utah. Every Utahn deserves the opportunity to succeed no matter where they live. This investment that we're talking about here today will help ensure that rural communities have the same opportunities to grow and succeed as anywhere else in the state. The last few years have been important reminders to all of us that supply chains matter, especially the supply chains that involve food. We should produce, process, and distribute as much of our food here in Utah as we reasonably can. Food security is about more than just agriculture, though. It's about resilience, it's about economic opportunity, and ultimately it's about healthy communities. The grants that are coming here today, working with our federal partners, will help strengthen local food production, processing, storage, and distribution all across rural Utah. That means new opportunities for farmers, ranchers, food businesses, and local communities. This is the first major investment through Utah's Rural Health Transformation Program, which is a truly unique and a great example of agencies working together to solve real problems. So again, I want to thank our teams at UDAF, DHHS, our legislative partners, and everyone else who helped get these resources together and out the door quickly. I want to thank the federal administration as well, Dr. Oz and his team, who have worked to get these rural transformation grants out to states all across the country. Again, you don't often see UDAF and DHHS working together, which is really pretty cool. This is we want to encourage our eligible producers, businesses, cooperatives, and nonprofits to apply during the application period. We'll get you all of that information here shortly. This is an investment in Utah's rural future, our agriculture heritage, and a stronger, more resilient state for generations to come. And with that, I'm excited to turn the podium over to Commissioner Tracy Gruber from DHHS.
Well, thank you so much, Governor. You have made the priority of rural Utah a priority for this administration, and the Department of Health and Human Services is just so proud to be supporting rural Utah. The mission of the Utah Department of Health and Human Services is to support health and safety for all Utahns. Today, we're here to announce the first of many funding opportunities that makes a once-in-a-generation investment in health outcomes for Utahns in our rural communities. Utah's Rural Health Transformation Program is a 5-year game changer, making a real lasting difference for our friends and families living in Utah's 24 rural and frontier counties. First, again, I want to thank Governor Cox and his leadership for trusting the Department of Health and Human Services to lead this amazing effort and manage this funding. We're grateful to the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food for stepping forward in this call to action and for the willingness to be creative, innovative, and join us in tackling really tough issues with one-time money. We're also grateful for the support and leadership from Speaker Schultz and the members of the Utah legislature who are asking us to be bold while also ensuring the integrity and fiscal responsibility that comes with such a large amount of funding. When I have the opportunity to visit rural Utah, which I did last week, I often hear of the resourcefulness in utilizing the limited resources they have to meet the needs of their communities. Whether it's working together to feed a community through the raising and processing of cattle to addressing a critical health emergency, our rural communities and their community spirit are the heart and soul of our state. They shape our values through their strong, close-knit social fabric. While people living in rural Utah are the envy of us urban dwellers, our rural communities confront significant healthcare challenges. Rates of chronic disease like diabetes, high blood pressure, and obesity are 30% higher in rural Utah. Women have fewer preventive care visits in rural Utah compared with the national rate. And at the same time, fewer adults and kids in rural areas are getting regular checkups to prevent sickness. And if someone needs to see a healthcare specialist, finding one close to home is incredibly difficult. During listening sessions throughout the state, we heard what is all too common for many rural Utahns. They may need to drive 4 to 6 hours one way for a specialty treatment not available closer to home. And mental health is also a concern across the state, but our rural communities are experiencing these challenges at greater rates while experiencing limited access to behavioral health professionals. In 2023, the suicide rate in rural Utah was 40% higher than in our cities. 1 out of every 5 rural Utahns has been diagnosed with depression, and drug overdose problems are hitting our eastern counties especially hard. Through the Rural Health Transformation Program, Utah is investing in improving health access to improve these health outcomes. This critical funding is supported by the Centers of Medicaid and Medicare through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Through this funding, Utah was awarded an impressive $195.7 million of funding just for year one. With this $195.7 million and many million more in future years, we have ambitious plans to make generational investments in rural healthcare systems. Now, you might wonder what the Department of Ag and Food has to do with health. The answer is food. We're investing $11 million in year one funding through a partnership with our colleagues at UDAF, helping local farmers produce more and get fresh, nutritious, whole foods into rural communities. We want to help people eat more fresh, healthy meals because we know how important that is to battling chronic disease. Thank you again, Commissioner Pearson, to you and your team for jumping into this with us. We're excited to start this 5-year journey together and bring health changes to rural Utah. With that, I'd like to turn the time over to Speaker Schultz, a champion of our efforts around rural health transformation.
That was Tracy Gruber. And coming up next on Inside Sources, we're going to talk more about this rural-urban divide and ways we can help bridge the gaps in care and in food.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers offers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see, quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
It's always fun to shop at NPS. The other day, Dee and I went into NPS, but we went in with a mission. We were doing all kinds of fun things at this time of year with our grandkids and the family. We decided, okay, we've got to get to NPS. And we did, and we started picking up all the fun things. From the treats over in the grocery area, you can pick up your regular groceries there as well, but we were looking for treats for the grandkids, things that would be perfect for the road trip that we were taking down to St. George. We found so many fun things that the kids absolutely loved. Plus, we wanted them to have toys for the backyard, the sandbox, the pool, 20 to 70% savings each and every day at all 4 of their locations. But the cool thing is, and this is where the treasure hunt aspect comes into effect, they offer even more incredible savings on top of the already low price. They're in Orem, they're in Layton, and of course, in Salt Lake. NPS.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's finally here, and we're kicking it off with a whole lot of free. Free brake pads with Duralast rotors. Free oil filter with 5 quarts of oil. Free Armor All wipes with Armor All glass cleaner, and more. More free, so you can have more summer. Celebrate free at AutoZone. Now through July 27th. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And Doug.
Hot dog, get your hot dog.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
Inside Sources.
Continuing to take a closer look at ways to bridge the gaps often found between rural and urban Utah. And in the last segment, we heard just a little bit of a press conference about the expansion of a program to tackle food insecurity in rural communities.
Yesterday, we had a little bit different look at it. We learned more about how Rural Health Transformation Program is working to get better health care and emergency services accessible to some of these rural Utahns.
So we want to keep the conversation going this segment. Feel free to weigh in. It's 57500 if you want to text us. But joining us now is our producer, Andy Cupp. Andy, tell us about living in rural areas.
Yes. So I did not grow up in rural Utah. I will put that forward now. But I did grow up in rural California, and then I served a church mission in rural Montana and Wyoming. So
that's rural.
Very rural. And it's an interesting thing that I think a lot of people in urban areas don't really think about as much of the challenges of these rural spots when it comes to healthcare or food deserts and things like that. So where I grew up in California, we had just a small, we were talking about this earlier, an acute center facility for our hospital or something like max at 25 beds, no specialists. If you wanted anything like that, you had to go at hour and a half to 2 hour drive, which is pretty short compared to
the 4 or 5, 6.
Exactly that they were just talking about in the last segment. So those are real challenges, especially for people who, are on Social Security or just don't have finances in order to be able to actually make that journey. Plus, you have to schedule things so far out that sometimes by the time you get to see that specialist, whatever the problem is might be a lot
worse or
progressed.
Too late. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then living in Montana, it was really interesting getting to actually work with food banks. So as a missionary, we did a lot of volunteering in food banks in these small towns. And it was fascinating to see how important those food banks were, because you'd usually have, in some of these towns, if you were lucky, one grocery store.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were lucky. Yeah. There were some places I lived in Montana where, the closest grocery store was at least half an hour away, minimum. So you've got one grocery store, and usually they're very high priced because it's a single grocery store and they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So they've got to, up their prices, and people can't afford that. So these food banks then became so important for people to actually get nutrition in any kind of form.
Right.
And so it's really interesting when you start to look at these food deserts in these rural places and in rural Utah where they may not have a grocery store even, being able to actually make sure that people are fed and given the sustenance they need to actually live and to thrive. And it's one of those things that is really weird when you do have food being grown in your own backyard that you can't use because it gets shipped off somewhere else. And that was a weird thing in Montana, which has a lot of beef, for instance. That's
so the farmers,
big ranching
ranchers,
thing.
Right, yeah.
It gets exported somewhere else. And so you think, oh, well, you have all these cows around, so obviously you must at least have a lot of beef to eat. And no, that's not the case for a lot of these people.
Yeah. So one of the things we've been talking about is this Rural Health Transformation Program. So this initiative for nutrition is part of their path. They have like 7 different areas of focus, but this one is preventive action and transformation for health. And you just heard Tracy Gruber talking about how important food is to health. And it's like, well, yeah, of course it is. And one of the things that I learned when I was volunteering in a food pantry was food insecurity doesn't necessarily mean you can't find anything, but it's you don't know where your next healthy meal is going to come from. So, or how often you may eat. So if you're reliant, for example, on only ramen noodles, that's food insecure, and that's not very healthy, right? Doesn't have protein, doesn't have a lot of vitamins that we need. It'll fill your tummy, but it's not that healthy for you. So I think you're right, Andy. This conversation about rural areas and getting food down there, I just remember it hasn't been that long, a year or two, a couple of years maybe, where there were sections in Utah that didn't have electricity or running water, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I've talked a lot about where we live, and it's hardly rural, but in rural Ogden Valley, there is a single supermarket there, and it's not like,
and it's tiny.
It's not
probably.
a market at all. It's called the market. And,
Yeah.
but for that, we'd be driving down to Ogden anytime you need to get anything.
Yeah.
But it's there and it's great. But there's not a medical facility there. You have to go into Ogden. It's only 20 miles, but still, you've got canyons, and then we've got the place in Torrey where there's no market in town at all. You have to drive to Loa. It's about 15 miles. It's called Royals Market. It's a great place, but it's a little bit of a schlep. But what hit me hard, and it wasn't bad, but it could have been, was my accident in November.
Yeah.
When I was mountain
And it was
biking.
bad. It could have been
was
worse.
Really bad. I fractured my pelvis. I was laying there in the dirt, and Rebecca had to drive up in the 4-wheel drive to come pick me up. I was alone, being a dummy. I knew I was hurt. I knew I was seriously hurt. And we called 911 just to find out where the nearest hospital was.
Yeah.
And it was in Richfield. It's called Sevier Valley. It was an incredible facility, but it wasn't anywhere near. I mean, it was 70 miles plus dirt road. It was over an hour to get there. Had I been in real jeopardy, which I was, I just didn't know it at the time, it could have been a real problem. I don't know how they could have gotten to me much sooner, but she was driving the 4Runner pretty fast that day.
Oh, yeah, as she should have been. But look, it's again, when we live along the Wasatch Front, it's easy to take it for granted, right? I can't even count how many full-service grocery stores are within 15 minutes of myself, and 2 Costco's, and I mean, I have a plethora of choices, but to both of your points, in a lot of places, there's not that choice, and if you are struggling financially, then you may be making choices between, do I get something healthy or do I get something cheap because I also have to pay for medication this month?
Right, and Andy makes a good point. These smaller markets don't compete necessarily well with the big chains, and so you do pay a little bit more.
And have a lot less variety.
and not necessarily have the same variety.
Utah is actually the 13th largest state in the country. I'm not sure I knew that. But
size,
I did know this, size-wise, Close to 77% of our state's land is considered rural or even frontier. So even though we have the bulk of the population living along the Wasatch Front, one of the things that the state is announcing today is how this money that's coming in, this is coming from the federal government. It was part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it's over 5 years, but they have like a 1-year trial period. So it's like, here's some money for you to try these things. And then come back and report next year. And what they're trying to do is get better infrastructure for food distribution in these rural areas.
Did you say you had some experience in Montana? There was a food bank in one of the communities that you worked in?
Oh, in several of the communities.
So what were those like?
So those were generally, they'd operate like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go and we would basically volunteer in helping to like bring stuff out of the back room, because usually these would just be in like a single little
That's what I was
room
wondering.
in the basement of a church somewhere. I'm thinking in particular when I lived in Anaconda, that's exactly what it was. It was in the basement of a church, and people would come in, and it was still based off of income and whatnot. So they'd still have to like show ID and all of that. And then, it was basically, food that wasn't fit to be on the shelves anymore, but wasn't like completely expired. So we're not talking like moldy food.
Right.
But, food that's past its expiration date that stores are trying to get rid of. It could be donated food. It was really just anything that the food pantries, the food banks could actually get, just because it was so hard to get those supplies. But a lot of times, if I remember correctly,
was it generally free?
Yeah, it would be free depending
People come
on
and
your
get what
income
they-
level at the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of it too would be like baked goods. That's the one that I remember the most. Is the stuff that you would find
It's
in
the day-old
your
bread.
bakery section.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which
Yeah.
like day old bread is one thing, but a lot of times they'd be
Day-old donuts,
pastries and
week-old
things like that.
pastries.
Yeah. But it's really it's to Holly's point, whatever they could get.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, just as we wrap this up, but it's the state of Utah is talking about this new program. They're using federal funds, the Rural Health Transformation Program, in making this particular aspect of that program is to make food more readily available in rural Utah.
All right. Well, thanks, Andy. When we come
Thanks for
back after
joining
the
us.
break, can a state seize a $95,000 plane for illegally transporting a six-pack of beer. The United States Supreme Court has agreed to hear an interesting case out of Alaska dealing with what they're calling excessive fines. We're going to talk about, we're going to have another edition of Ask the Attorney. I get to chime in on this one. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's 11:30 here at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour. We've got breaking news. State Route 153 connecting Beaver and Paiute County has been closed indefinitely. UDOT says this is because of damage to the road caused by flash flooding and debris flows over the weekend. SR 153 runs through Beaver Canyon connecting I-15 and US 89. It's a seasonal-only road used for recreation and by those who have properties on the mountain. In other local news, a local treatment facility for kids is preparing to permanently close its doors just weeks after the Provo Canyon School had their license revoked.
Crimson Heights in St. George now has just 10 days until they have to shut down all of their facilities that treat children under an agreement they made with the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Last fall, DHHS cited the facility, saying one of its employees injured a client so badly they needed surgery afterwards. Then earlier this year, they lost their license after police accused an employee of having a sexual relationship with an underage client. The facility issued a statement to KSL investigators saying while they cannot comment on individual cases, quote, "We are committed to compliance, accountability, and providing safe, high-quality care for the individuals we serve." Under the agreement with the state, Crimson Heights will still be able to operate facilities that treat adults. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 429 points, that's 0.8%. The S&P 500 is up 66 points, that's 0.9%. And the Nasdaq is up 1.4%. Oil is also up $2 a barrel, that's 2.4%. Coming up, some thunderstorms on the horizon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Summer is here. Vacations are booked, pictures are coming, and the pool days are happening. This is Greg Skordas, and this year, don't sit on the sidelines. Start with SOTA, S-O-T-A. No shots, no pills, no crazy restrictions. Get 4 weeks free when you call 866-800-SOTA and mention this radio station. The reason I went with SOTA is this. SOTA believes weight loss should be temporary. Results should not be. Instead of putting me on shots, pills, or expensive medications that can become an ongoing commitment, SOTA taught me how to eat for my body and to keep my weight off for good. Weight loss medications can be expensive for many people, and the bill does not end. SOTA is different. A degreed nutritionist hooked me up with the root causes of my challenges, guided me, and taught me lifelong habits on how to lose weight without signing up for a lifelong bill. And you can get 4 free weeks if you call 866-800-SOTA and mention KSL News Radio. Check out their thousands of success stories, nearly 9,000 Google reviews. Remember, SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at at Birch Gold Group by diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. Here's McKenna Rodriguez.
There was a crash on eastbound I-215 in Murray. The car was sitting on the right shoulder, so it was out of the way, but it looks like it has driven away now. Along I-15, no out-of-the-ordinary delays in both directions. McKenna Rodriguez in the KSL Traffic Center.
We got isolated and scattered thunderstorms that are going to hit multiple areas, could lead to some flooding in certain areas, especially around recent burn scars. Highs are going to be up in the 90s today, hitting 99 degrees. Right now, though, 91 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court is deciding what cases to take up in its next term, and they're going to deal with one that has a relation to what they're calling excessive fines. And at the heart of this case is this: should transporting a six-pack of beer to a dry county via an airplane result in the seizure of the airplane?
So I was really interested when I saw this pop up, and I wanted to ask the attorney, Greg. And I don't drink beer. A lot of our listeners probably don't, but that's not really the point of the case. I think the point of the case is that is it reasonable to seize a $95,000 airplane and basically cut off a man's livelihood because you don't like what he was doing a grocery run, a grocery drop off?
Well, yeah, kind of. What he was doing, you're exactly right. This guy was a bush pilot. He was taking a group of individuals into an Alaskan village where alcohol is prohibited. One of his passengers was bringing a six-pack of beer. Now, he apparently knew that, or should have known that. That's what the prosecutors are saying. And so he was allegedly or apparently illegally transporting beer, alcohol, into a dry community.
Which I didn't even know that existed, to be honest.
Which you can't do. And so when you do that, like, for example, let's say a person is running drugs, selling drugs, the vehicle, the apparatus that's being used to transport the drugs can be forfeited. They're calling it a fine. It's not really a fine. It's a forfeiture, but it falls under the same category. And I'm looking at the 8th Amendment's rule against cruel and unusual punishment or excessive fines. Like, wait a minute, because we think that the punishment needs to fit the crime.
Right.
And that's what the underlying action. That's why we don't do the death penalty for shoplifters. Right. Or we have $1 million fines for people that jaywalk. So we set the fines, we set the schedule, and then you have this thing called forfeiture where you say, well, you were transporting alcohol illegally. It's one of his passengers.
It's a misdemeanor.
Sneaking a six-pack into this village in Alaska, you shouldn't do it. And so the Supreme Court's trying to decide if he should have his plane forfeited. Now, this plane is apparently worth $95,000.
Yeah.
It seems kind of cheap. But anyway, it's a lot to him. It's his livelihood, too. Yeah. It's not just an airplane. It's how he makes his living. He's a bush pilot. He's taking people into this village. I'm sure people take beer into these things every once in a while. It doesn't make it right. And it would have been one thing if he was transporting beer into the village to sell, but he's taking some passengers in, and one of them's got a six-pack, and I'm sure he goes, hey, you probably shouldn't do that. You get me in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy's got it anyway. A six-pack of beer not going to last these guys very long jumping into that village. But if you can't if it's a dry village, you don't bring it in.
Well, first of all, I didn't know there were dry villages or dry counties. I thought Utah was the only one with weird alcohol laws. So, this is a misdemeanor, and this is what his attorneys are arguing, and I think it's interesting, right? It's like he was a first-time offender. It's a misdemeanor. He was sentenced to 3 days imprisonment and a $1,500 fine, and they took his plane.
Yeah, even the 3 days imprisonment seems like a lot.
It does,
for
right?
that.
And so, but if
they got no
but
sense
that's
of humor
the
up
case.
there in Alaska.
A sense of humor.
I mean, like, I don't know that would happen. What I don't understand is this, and I was a prosecutor for 8 years. You've got to exercise some judgment, some prosecutorial discretion. And so, and the judge has to exercise some judgment. I'm surprised it got to the Supreme Court. Like, somebody should have thrown this out by now, or the prosecutor should have said, we can either forfeit your plane or you can pay us a bigger fine, like $2,500. And he would have gladly done that. This seems like a very overreaching prosecution, and I can't believe a judge signed off on it. But they did. I mean, if you look at the strict letter of the law and it says you're forfeiting your property if you illegally transport a controlled substance, that's good, but you don't take their plane away.
So yeah, exactly. So my question to you then is, because I do think it's interesting, the Supreme Court's going to take this up. Can just remind us of the Eighth Amendment and why they're arguing this.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That's what we talked about earlier.
Just
the Eighth Amendment's, excessive fines and cruel and unusual punishment. That is to say that we look at. I mean, there are countries that will cut your hand off if you steal.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or will kill people for aggravated sex crimes. We haven't got to that point in America. We have decided that because of the Eighth Amendment, actually, there was a time in our country's history, not long ago, during my lifetime, where the death penalty was unconstitutionally cruel. And we didn't have that. Then we brought it back. So we really look at what was the conduct and what should be the punishment and what fits that. And states can enact laws that do things, but every once in a while you get to one that say, wait a minute, your state has a law that you forfeit any vehicle for any transportation, even a six-pack of beer, and the Alaska says, you're darn right we do. And that's what we're doing. The Supreme Court's going, wait a minute, let's look at the Eighth Amendment. Let's look at the Constitution and see what it really says about excessive fines and cruel and unusual punishment. Is that, I think 3 days of imprisonment seems awfully tough for that. But, I mean, that's not, he would have gladly done a week rather than lose his plane probably.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that they're arguing in Alaska, they argued that the state has exceptional and unique, unique difficulties in combating alcohol abuse. I get that, and that it's remote and alcohol leads to domestic violence. I get all that. But it's also looks like they're relying on a law where they're saying, people who ship things in by ship.
Sure.
And this was a tourist, I guess. And and so I don't see anything at all if there was any consequences for the tourist who bought the beer.
Yeah, good point. You would think he would be in even more trouble.
There's nothing. I don't see anything in these talking about the Supreme Court.
He may have got his 3 days and $1,500 too, but he wasn't transporting it.
So
he was transporting it, but he didn't have anything to seize. He didn't have anything to forfeit.
Sure.
Unless like the briefcase that he was carrying it in or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's the same with cars. When you drive a car and you've got. And you're transporting drugs.
Yeah.
They can seize your car.
Well,
they can forfeit your car.
The Alaska Supreme Court ruled that the forfeiture didn't violate the Constitution, and in its view, they said it's not grossly disproportional to the gravity of the offense. And that that seems so weird to me. But this is from SCOTUS blog, right? And we've relied on SCOTUS blog and editors there a lot. And so this is some of this was, I think, one case released in the first three that they've talked about they're going to do next term, which I think they're going to begin arguments in October, if I remember correctly, something like that, October. And they won't have a decision for maybe a year.
But that goes to the gravity of the offense. And that's interesting that you say that, because that's what we're talking about. The Alaska Supreme Court, now that's a different jurisdiction, and it's a different time, and it's a different problem. And they have a problem with alcoholism in some of their remote communities, apparently. And so they take alcohol very seriously.
Yeah.
But it is a six-pack of beer. I don't mean to downplay it, but it's not like a pound of cocaine or something like that that would have been far more significant, or, a kilo of meth. Those seem a little bit more problematic. So, again, I'm surprised the Alaska Supreme Court decided what it did, but that tells me that it's a much more serious issue than maybe I appreciate. And I don't mean to downplay it. I hope the Supreme Court will keep it in check. To me, it does seem like an unusual fine, an over excessive fine. a punishment that doesn't fit the crime.
Yeah, it's interesting. And SCOTUS blog does say that the passenger was charged, but they don't say whether there were any consequences for her. And she was bringing beer back to her husband. So, so it doesn't say if there were any consequences, but she did. She was originally charged.
Well, now they found it. I mean,
they actually, as they were loading the plane to go to this little remote village, police, state troopers came up to inspect the plane and the cargo going on the plane, and they saw it in a grocery bag.
Ouch.
So, all right. Coming up in Inside Sources, I loved this story and the representation that it shows. There's 2 Utahns who are deaf who are working with Netflix to translate one of the most popular kids shows around, CoComelon, into American Sign Language. We're going to talk about that after the break.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Have you ever missed a segment of Inside Sources, or you want to rehear a conversation that you particularly liked? Well, you can subscribe to the Inside Sources podcast. We upload each segment and the full show every weekday afternoon. Go to kslpodcast.com or follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you could tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. For more than 50 years, the Utah Transit Authority has connected Utahns to work, school, and everyday destinations. It continues to help strengthen communities across the Wasatch Front through safe, reliable public transportation. Events and sponsorship strategist Marina Riddle joins us with more.
At the Utah Transit Authority, we are focused on connecting people to opportunity. Every day, UTA provides safe, reliable, and affordable transportation that supports our economy, strengthens communities, and improves quality of life across the Wasatch Front. Our mission is simple. We move you. We move employees to jobs, students to school, customers to businesses, and families to parks, concerts, and sporting events. all while reducing traffic congestion and improving air quality. UTA also helps move Utah's economy forward. A recent study found that for every dollar invested in UTA, our community receives $5.11 back in economic return. And that positive impact benefits all Utahns, whether you ride transit or not. As we look ahead, we remain focused on improving our system to better serve our customers and communities. Learn more and plan your trip at rideuta.com.
UTA is helping keep Utah's economy moving forward every day. As the state grows, its transit system continues to support stronger communities and a more connected, thriving economy. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
An expanded Inside Sources.
I really love this story. This is out of the Salt Lake Tribune. They're reporting that one of the most popular children's shows on Netflix, CoComelon, and you're like, what the heck is CoComelon? But it will soon be available in American Sign Language thanks to 2 Utahns.
CoComelon is when you dip your fondue chocolate with your cantaloupe, and you've got a CoComelon. Otherwise, I've never even heard of that word.
So that's shows that you don't have little kids in your household. That's what that shows. So
probably cute.
It's
a cool idea.
Little, yeah. But look, there's 2 Utahns, Jenny Yang, and who is doesn't hear. She's deaf, and she is going with another deaf creator, Jojo Sevilla. They've translated 32 hours of CoComelon into ASL as part of what, quote, Sign Up Media is. That is actually a company where you can see these shows where they're translating for you. But they translated them, CoComelon, into what they are saying is the largest ASL translation effort in entertainment history.
This is great.
It really is.
This is a good thing. And you hope that they can set up something so that maybe AI can do it at some point. You can start doing more and more of that. But kids like this can start something and get something going and make it part of our lexicon. Maybe
the two Utahns are grown-ups. They're signing for kids. Right. But it's a collaboration between Sign Up Media, which, I mean, it's the sign, right, and Netflix. So this collaboration is looking at doing a 200-hour library of shows, 73 different titles, 41 franchises. And everybody who is signing, they're deaf, they're native signers, or they're advocates. And they're going to do characters like Pikachu from Pokemon. They're going to do Ms. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, she's a really fun character. The Sign Up Media, it's a free Google Chrome extension that provides interpretation for titles on streaming platforms like Disney Plus and Netflix. So I just think super cool, right? It is very cool. So these 2 together, in fact, one of them, her parents spoke Korean. When they learned that she was deaf, they had to figure out how to do English ASL and Korean culture. So she is the one who signed K-pop Demon Hunters. So she interpreted K-pop Demon Hunters, which I thought was really fun. And the other one, Sevilla, is she's Pacific Islander, and so she signed or interpreted Moana.
You know, a year or so ago, we went to the Hale Center for theater for the Christmas Carol, and there was a small group on the side, and they had a sign language translation done of the entire play. I saw this woman that was just standing there doing the whole thing. I thought, how incredible for them to enjoy it and be able to appreciate because the words in Dickens, you know what I mean? You're really appreciating that. And I just thought that was the coolest thing to see that going on.
And to make it accessible, right? To make it accessible. Okay, so I have fun facts, of course, for the day. One of the things that today is Eat Lunch with a Monkey Day. I don't even know.
No.
Like, look, it's also the day in 1925 that John T. Scopes was found guilty of teaching evolution in the Scopes monkey trial in Dayton, Tennessee. He was fined $100.
Think there's a coincidence there?
I don't know. I was actually looking to see if there was a coincidence, and nationaltoday.com, where I get all of these weird days, they didn't say that there was, but I think maybe that there was.
He was found guilty of teaching evolution in the Scopes monkey trial in 1925. You know what his punishment was?
$100.
$100 fine, yeah.
So look, anyway, so if you want to eat lunch with a monkey today, I guess you can do that. So it's also the day, this is July 21st, Elizabeth Key won a lawsuit freeing herself from slavery in Virginia. So this was in 1656. She was biracial. And she was born to an enslaved mother and an English planter father. She argued that she was Christian because she had been baptized. And so the law at the time allowed for people who were Christian, once they served a period of indentured servitude, then they had to be free. So she got her freedom. Then she married the attorney who represented her.
And you'd think her father wouldn't have allowed her to go into slavery.
Oh,
that was
honey, that was a different time. Yeah.
How sad.
So 1853, Central Park was created on Manhattan Island, if you could believe it. It's been around that long, 1853.
Yeah. You ever been there?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
nope.
I've walked around it. It's huge.
It is huge.
Gigantic.
In 1861, the First Battle of Bull Run was the first major land battle of the Civil War. And this is the part that I think is so weird. People came to watch the battle like it was fun, right? They brought a picnic lunch. 5,000 soldiers died. But around it, people had chairs and picnic baskets and stuff.
So weird.
So messed up.
Yeah.
So messed up. So also, it was on this day that Frances Clara Folsom was born. She became the youngest first lady in U.S. history. She married sitting President Grover Cleveland when she was 21. He was quite a bit older. And it was the only wedding of a president that took place in the White House. And what's the other interesting thing about Grover Cleveland? He's the only other one besides President Trump who didn't serve consecutive terms.
Oh, yeah, he served, there was a term in between.
Yep. So she was the first who served 2 different terms. She was the 23rd and 25th First Lady. It was also on this day that Janet Reno was born, and a few years later, Robin Williams. So Robin Williams was born on this day in 1951.
What a loss that was.
I know.
Both of them,
Yeah.
really, really prominent people.
Yeah.
She was our first woman to serve as Attorney
U.S.
General.
Attorney General under President Clinton.
Yep,
that's right. So it was also on this day in 1974 that the U.S. House Judiciary Committee approved two articles of impeachment against President Richard Nixon. We know how that ended.
Yeah, with him saying, see you later. I'm not going to be impeached.
See you later.
I'm out of here.
And it was on this day in 2024, if you remember, Joe Biden said, I'm no longer running for re-election.
2 years ago today.
2 years ago today.
A little late in the game, Joe. And that was a huge problem. I mean, I'm not going to go there for my closing argument.
All right, give us your closing argument.
Yeah, so I guess I'll talk back to this case going to the U.S. Supreme Court, because what we talked about was a case where a Bush pilot in Alaska was transporting some people into an area, a closed area, or at least a closed area for alcohol, a dry county, and one of the passengers had a 6-pack of beer. As a part of the punishment for him, he did 3 days in jail, paid a $1,500 fine, and then his $95,000 plane was forfeited. That case went through the court system there in Alaska and finished, maybe, at the Alaska Supreme Court. And so you think, wow, that's horrible. He then appealed to the United States Supreme Court, and a lot of people don't recognize this, but the U.S. Supreme Court didn't have to take the case. They get thousands of inquiries every year. That could have been the end of the day. He loses his plane. See you later. Bye. Bad luck for you. But the Supreme Court took the case. There was something about it that intrigued them. They granted what's called certiorari, because his lawyer said, hey, we can't let it stop here. Alaska said, well, let's run its course here in Alaska. And so the U.S. Supreme Court is going to look at their own constitution. Alaska, I'm sure, looked at its constitution and weighted alongside the United States Constitution, because you can't have one and not the other. But the U.S. Supreme Court is going to look at it under an Eighth Amendment argument and say, is this really what the authors of the Bill of Rights intended when they enacted the Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution, that would be an appropriate punishment? They may say, you know what, Alaska has a crime that defines that. They have special concerns for some of these counties. They really want them to be dry because of excessive alcoholism and domestic violence that comes into some of these areas that are very remote, where you don't have a lot of access to other resources or whatnot. But the Supreme Court's going to hear that case. I think that decision is going to be flipped over. I think the United States Supreme Court is going to say enough is enough, and the Eighth Amendment really doesn't allow for something that I would see as an excessive fine, an excessive punishment. Although I have seen people lose a lot of valuable property because, I mean, in the drug dealing community, which I deal with a lot, and you see forfeitures of cars, of boats, of all kinds of things, and you think, man, I mean, you deserve it if you're dealing drugs, but man, a 6-pack of beer just seems like a lot. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks for that. You can join KSL Brightside today as they broadcast live from the Wasatch County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Headquarters in Heber and hear how volunteer searchers are trained, how they deal with these busy summer months. And that's coming up today, 1 to 3 on KSL Brightside. Coming up next on Utah's New News, though, community members helping with those crazy brush fires in Roy.
Common Spirit Health Studios. This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon. Utah's noon news starts now. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story. Beaver County is now under an emergency resolution after fires and floods left colossal damage to local communities. Commissioner Wade Hollingshead introduced the resolution.
We are very appreciative for all the efforts that have been in place during the fire and during the recent floods, that no serious harm or life has been lost. There's been a lot of efforts from a lot of different agencies to make sure that's been that way.
KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more on what the resolution does.
The resolution opens the way for Beaver to receive state and federal disaster relief funding as they work to rebuild areas hit by major flooding over the weekend. The massive burn scar left by Utah's largest wildfire is located just above the Beaver River and acts as a funnel overflowing the river. Emergency crews are working to widen the floodplain and the river to prevent future water from causing more damage. The